I can't believe we're in 104 minutes of Premier League football. Like, it takes
injury. This is injury. These are the injury hours.
Yeah, mate.
Come on, man, blow the whistle.
Yeah, he's taking the piss.
Blow the whistle. No one wants to see any more of this.
Out for a goal kick.
Yeah, it's a goal kick.
Goal kick. It's all over.
It's over.
No, I don't think it is over.
Oh, Brighton. Using their heads. Yeah, it's
a lot of pushing there.
Yeah, handbags going on.
This is mental. This wow. Like we're gonna. I'm looking on Google. We're 90 plus 16 here.
They were shaking hands. It's done. Game over.
It's not.
Well done for the team.
It's really not.
Oh shit.
Do you know what? I honestly thought at the start of this season, I'm not saying I thought we were going to win the league, or even I did think we'd get Champions League football, but I thought I'd have some really, really enjoyable games watching Chelsea, and we've had enjoyable results. You have, because you've not got an underlying interest here. I thought we'd have. Listen, we've had enjoyable results, but watching Chelsea has been bad for my health this season. It's been really, really hard.
You made a song about stuff like that.
Mate, the referee still not blowing his whistle, by the way. We're talking about watching a team being bad for your health. Look at me right now, man.
This guy's I'm developing a problem.
I'm the only one drinking on the table, man.
The referee still hasn't blown the whistle. When that ball hit the guy's head, there
When
was
they boo.
literally a minute left. Oh, he's blown it there.
Yes, here we go.
It's over now. That's a big 3 points.
Well done.
Listen.
He's only bought out the old school one as well. Auto class repair. Auto class replace.
You know what you're saying there is I was here before the money.
Yeah.
All right. We'll get on to the Man United situation. Josh is on the way, by the way. We'll get on to Man United. Going into the game,
Oh shit.
I expected us to win.
Let's
But what
go.
I didn't expect was for Ten Hag to park the bus. He literally gave up before the game was even underway. Like it was just they approached that game
Bernardo
as if
Silva.
we were Man United and they were like a League One side trying to nick an FA Cup replay. Like where was the ambition?
No, do you know what? We played you guys 3 times since the final, and we're worse every single time. It's got to the point. It's the first time. You always ask me, this manager, how you feeling about him? For the first time, I'm looking at the manager, and I've never done like in his time being here, and they'll probably say, "Raw, not even after the 7-0." No, but this time now because him and Eddie Howe, you guys are not even your true superpower. Yeah, I compare you more to like in the Joe Robinho years. You haven't had Man City. Bloody hell, we couldn't live with you guys. It was an embarrassment, literally. And every single time we played you lot, it's looked like that, but it's got worse. But the one thing that I do need to say that is clear is the players now, I think they're not playing for it no more. For the first time yesterday, there was a few people walking and stuff, and I think maybe he has finally lost the dressing room, or he's on the journey of losing.
Can I just say that was the first time?
Yeah.
That what you said for the first time yesterday. That ain't the first time I've seen the Man United players doing that. I've seen that a couple of times now.
Yeah.
This was a particularly noticeable one where you've got Garnacho, Rashford, and Martial all not doing the dirty work that Anthony Gordon, Almiron, and Isak. And what is great about this for Man United fans is it's a great mirror to be held up to the club because it's like you know that you've always been better than Newcastle, even though we're the best version of us we've been for a long time. Like Man United, there's a level of like pride that they have. We will never be worse than Newcastle. And with every, as you've rightly said there, with every game that goes by, the more time Newcastle spend with Eddie Howe, the better we get. And the more time Man United spend with Ten Hag, the worse they are.
And that's why it's glaring. I think this is the one thing, because Liverpool, they've been great for years. Klopp, Man City been together. Literally, I know that Ten Hag has not had this long, but there's no excuses really. You're both Premier League managers, and you guys have done battle a few times. Even in that Newcastle one in the cup, we're a bit lucky in that one.
Definitely.
Now, there's no luck in between it. Like yesterday, it was 90 minutes of onslaught. The only thing that happened is you guys got a bit tired in the 86th minute, so you couldn't beat the shit out of it. Then all of a sudden, Man United, let's give it a go. Yeah. You know you got a big issue with, and I'm not even cussing Maguire because he was important yesterday. Maguire was our best player.
Do you know what tells me he's lost the dressing room? Listen, it's only my guess, but what tells me is when you look at the personnel that he is sort of relying on, right? he's relying on the guys that are playing for Man United rather than playing for Ten Hag. So when you look at Ten Hag signings, they're playing for Ten Hag. Of course they're playing for Man United, but they're playing for Ten Hag. No matter who the manager is, Scott McTominay putting in a shift. No matter who the manager is, Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire are putting in a shift. Do you know what I mean? Like, and now I'm looking at it and I'm going, the guys that are bailing you out are the guys that are playing for the badge.
But where's Rashford in that? Because he's a child of. He knows what. The guy's been here his whole career.
To be fair though, as poor as Anthony is going forward, when he came on, he does the other side of the game that most players don't. So you know you're saying Rashford doesn't run back, Garnacho doesn't run back. Anthony actually does track back. It's just shit going forward. So you can't really win. Like he's a bit of a weird one.
A few things I've written down. Man United have 6 defeats.
Because he took notes.
To be fair, I made a video. It's coming out here. Man United have 6 defeats. No other side in the top 10 has that many defeats. They've scored 16 goals, which is the least amount in the top 10 scored. And in fact, they've scored half the amount of goals Newcastle have scored. I found it interesting that Ten Hag's quote after the game: "This team is resilient. We have a plan and we keep going. I will talk to my team, but we stayed in the game at the end. We had some good chances. We scored a goal, but it was offside, so it could have been a draw."
It's a ridiculous.
That's
That's why I said that you lot deserve to win it. Because a lot of fans lost. A lot of fans gave up on Ten Hag. Like I was speaking to a guy I was interviewing after the game. He said he's Ten Hag out after that. After that, those words he said, he's in that Ollie. You know when Ollie was near the end,
Slightly delusional.
Yeah. So, but for me, like when I heard him say, because I was really nervous about that statement, but then he did say Newcastle deserved to win. Newcastle were better. Well, anyone can see that. Like you'd be stupid not to realise they were better. Joe Linton was next level. The whole team. It's like we tried to do. Literally, our manager got out by Eddie Howe. Before I used to come in here and say, you know what, Ten Hag better Eddie Howe, this, that, and the other. I can't say that. There's no proof. There's nothing to back up. All I can talk about is what he did with another team, with another like in Ireland. I can't bring that to the table. That's bull. It's just trash. I'm done. I'm drinking.
Looking at Ten Hag, you think to yourself, like, some of the Manchester United fans have said, oh, well, the only reason he's struggling is because he's got the same bozos who's let them down time and time again, yada, yada, yada. And I'm thinking, well, do you not think Eddie Howe inherited players who'd let previous managers down? You have to get in their heads and galvanise them. And if there's one thing that his sort of old-fashioned style is not doing, it's winning favourites. Like, the amount of in-house dressing room issues we're seeing from Sancho, Ronaldo, David De Gea, now Varane, and also very big name players. It's not like you're having problems with little kids who aren't getting in the team yet. And that for me shows like, all right, you're not a man manager then. You're certainly not, warm, like Big Ange, for example. He's not that kind of guy. Tactically, you're getting done over. And this is the key, is when you go to the top sides and you get played with the way Man United consistently do, that's because he can't then rely on the individual brilliance of some of the players that he does against your Burnleys and your Fulhams, where Bruno Fernandes will score a goal in the last minute. That's nothing to do with Ten Hag. That's a good ball striker. When the margins are fine, it's the manager's coaching that then has the impact.
Yeah.
And we're seeing Ten Hag's coaching
But then I think, honestly, I feel that because there's this thing that players we've all been aware of, but we never know it's true. John Obi Mikel came out and said, sometimes we just down tools. At Chelsea, we're down tools and stuff. I never knew that there's something you thought could happen. I honestly feel right now, Man United, the players are down in tools. And
Why did they do that?
Because we, like, yesterday, when they're talking about getting to the second ball, we did nothing. Literally, like, I get, like, Newcastle that'll be the easiest game they ever played all season. 1-0 flattered us. That should have been 5, 6, 7-0 yesterday.
When you talk about the second ball, though, that's down to a manager making his players want to run through a brick wall for him.
But they don't want to do it.
But how can they? Right, let's think about this. When I've seen the starting lineup, Anthony Martial.
Yeah.
Why on earth would Anthony Martial, who was loaned out by Ten Hag, because he clearly
Anthony wanted to leave. Anthony Martial wanted to leave.
Yeah, doesn't. But from both sides, he doesn't want to be there. Ten Hag doesn't want him there. So yet you're choosing him over the £80 million wonder kid in Hoyland, who I was relieved that Hoyland wasn't. I'm like, he is fast. He's threatening. Martial is done. So brilliant. You picked him. How are you ever going to cultivate an attitude within the dressing room when you're picking a guy who's finished over the wonder kid who you think is going to be the leading that for the
Because
next time?
I think he got us a goal. I think it's the Everton game. I don't know if he was trying to reward. The funny thing is, Ten Hag is clutching at straws with some of these players, and it's nuts now. He's making bad decisions, and we can't defend it. But as Man United fans, we have to say to ourselves, listen, we've done this merry-go-round 5 times, and when we talk about managers that you want to bring in, we brought in 5 different types of managers. We've had LVG, we've had Mourinho, we've had Oli, everyone's friend. We've had we brought in Ralph Rangnick, whatever they want to call about him. But then we've gone across, like, there's what person in attack you bring in now? What do you say? Like, what is the person that you? I can't find the manager in world football. And guess what? In 18 months' time, we're going to be back here again. That's the one thing that we can guarantee.
I don't think that's fair, though.
We're going to be back here again.
Okay, I don't think that's fair, because what that does is it removes responsibility from Ten Hag, and it goes, oh, this always happens to Man United. Yeah, because you keep appointing crap managers. Like Louis van Gaal. Louis van Gaal was finished in club football at that time, and it was his last job. He was a international manager at the time. Oli was never going to. I don't know how on earth he.
But no, Louis van Gaal won us the FA Cup, but I'm saying that he was. We probably would say second one.
Let me finish. Yeah. He wasn't the project builder for the long term. What Man United have supposedly won.
Yeah.
David Moyes didn't give him 2 seconds, so that was never going to. And look, he wasn't good enough. And then you look at Oli, he was never good enough. Mourinho, best one since Fergie, and to be fair to him, he fell out with the players as well, because there was some bad apples. But the point is amongst all of those, you've only appointed one good manager, and that was the only one, who was proven at Premier League level. All of the others were not proven in the.
Not just that, that's the one they hated the most.
Yeah,
that's why I never understood
and it
why.
was sour, but he didn't want to be there as well.
You're looking at Ten Hag and going, well, if this notion that, and this is where I really disagree with Man United fans when they go, if Ten Hag can't do it, well, then no one can. I'm like, based on what?
No one
Ten
can.
Hag has done nothing in his managerial career above, compared to many managers out there. There's nothing that puts Ten Hag away from us. Even Steve McLaren.
Except his thingy days.
Steve McLaren won the Dutch League, though. It's not. I mean, if Steve McLaren can win the tournament, how hard is it?
No, but then we're talking about, because what we celebrate Poch is at Chelsea right now, and he's riding off the taking his team to like a semi-final, to taking the team to a final. There's not Champions League final, but then what we're talking about with Ajax had no reason or rhyme or reason to get as far as they did in the Champions League when they get to the semis.
But the Champions League is not a great thing to look at as a repeatable process, because cup football, it is a bit of a fluke sometimes, and you can't chance your way through. And I'm not saying he wasn't good for Ajax, he obviously was. But Pochettino, when you use him as an example, what have we got from him? Years of proven Premier League results.
But nothing, but one man.
Yeah, but considering who he was with,
and also years of proven player relationships as well, because that's one of the key things. And when you look at a lineup like Man United's yesterday, when you're looking at it and you're going, Luke Shaw at centre back, bearing in mind, I actually think he did a good job there, by the way. But Martial instead of Whelan, when you look at a squad and you look at then the players you've got available on the bench, you don't put it down to injuries. You can only put it down to one thing. If the squad looks that random and that muddled up, it's because he's tried as hard as he can to get the players in there that at the moment he trusts. And the other side of looking at things, when I say trust, it's the players he's got on board, because he's lost at least half that dressing room for me.
It's crazy times. It's crazy time. Go on.
I just think with Ten Hag, he's a decent manager. I just don't think he's cut out for Manchester United. I think that job is just a step too far for him. I think, like you said, the Eredivisie is one league that is not rated in Europe like that. So, okay, cool, Ajax has got a big, history. They play a certain way of football, a certain brand that Man United probably found attractive. But I think the Man United job is one of the toughest jobs in world football for a manager to have. And if you're not at that Pep level or that Klopp level, taking that job is very, very difficult.
Managers too. I think he would have killed those.
But I think they would have put in a much better display than.
I disagree.
Honestly,
I feel like you've had so much shit football for so long that you're kind of like mentally scarred, right? And you're at a point where you're sitting there going, Pep Guardiola and Klopp could not turn Man United around.
Honestly, with
your finances,
you literally spent 400 million.
Yeah.
And of all of that, when we did this round table vote, we were looking at the best signings Ten Hag's made. We were thinking Ericsson on a free and Evans on a free were the best value. The amount of players
and Casemiro picked.
Yeah, but Like, he's an older guy. It's not a good deal in regards to the long-term future of Man United. Like, his transfers could have been transformative if he'd spent the money in the right way. Like, if you had more Highlands and less Casemiros and Varans, and I don't know if he made Varane rather.
Even our goalkeeper has
Onan has been terrible. Mason Mount was a terrible one. Anthony was terrible. There's hundreds of millions that you spunked up the wall that could have been better dealt with. And
but should a manager have that level of control over signings and stuff?
I think most managers at the top definitely have a big say now. And
why is it right though? I'm just thinking of with Man United. The reason why I won't, one of the main reasons why I don't want to sack him is that, for instance, I know we don't sell players, and these other clubs, like if Chelsea get rid of a Kai Havertz, it's gonna go for good money. If Chelsea sell anyone, they're gonna go for good money. Man United players, they manage to stick around and end up leaving on a free. So the issue that I have right now is no one, because we compete stupidly. The players, we bring in players on huge wages. Now we can't sell those players. Jadon Sancho should be getting sold in January. Who's gonna buy him?
Here's why Ten Hag probably will be sacked, in my opinion, is because the new money man coming in, Sir Jim, is going to look at it and go, what's easier? Get rid of you, bring in a manager who then goes to Sancho. Actually, you are in my plans. I want to see what you can do, kid. And then all of the other people who've clearly fallen out with him get a clean slate.
But Leopard doesn't. Remember they say Leopard don't change his spots. So ain't you gonna still deal with a player that said, you know what, for how many months I'm not gonna play football?
I understand.
Yeah, but how do you know?
You want that person
I
in the
said
round.
this after the Man United Arsenal match. I said it straight away. I said Sancho thinks he's outstanding at Arsenal, and at the time, Man United weren't playing that. They weren't playing that bad, and I think people were sort of thinking, I don't know about that. And as the weeks go on, I'm getting proved right there. Sancho knew he was outstanding Ten Hag in that situation. And as much as we're always going to look at like the manager's the one in the authority, and sometimes we look at these players, especially young players that are a little bit rash and whatnot, and we think, oh no, you're definitely the one in the wrong. How do you know Sancho's the one in the wrong? Like, Sancho, when you speak about attitude in terms of saying, all right, I won't play, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But what we've got to remember is we're not privy to the exact conversations that have gone on behind closed doors. If Ten Hag has pretty much told you, it doesn't matter what you do now in training, you're training with the under-21s or whatever, and you're not getting back into the team, how do we know Sancho's even in the wrong in this situation?
Because what we do is we have to use what we've seen, because as fans, we don't have a lot to go on. But what we can say is the players that have been left out and then worked their way back in, use Maguire, use McTominay, every time he's done this with certain players, even in terms of giving like Garnacho missed a lot of pre-season, and he was already talented, but he was late on pre-season, so we didn't bring him in, even though when Sancho was away. So I'm saying that what Ten Hag has proven to us as fans is he's brought players back in when they've been in the dark.
But when he has left Maguire and that out, but when he has left Maguire and that out, there hasn't been like personal things where he's come out in the media and said, they've not trained hard enough, they've not done this. And Sancho obviously released a statement. Look, none of us probably think it was right for him to release the statement, pin it on Twitter and everything he did. But if, I'm just saying the possibility, if Sancho is telling the truth in that situation, the context is completely different to when he left Maguire out and when he let
you hurt your own playing career. Sancho hasn't played since, I don't know how long ago, was it been three or how many months ago?
Yeah, 3
and he's hurting him. Sancho's hurting
What
himself.
about the double standards though from Ten Hag, where when Rashford clearly isn't putting the effort in, clearly is fucked off with, and this has been weeks of Rashford's body language saying, I don't like this guy anymore, and I'm done. So when it's clear as day that Rashford did not put a shift in and made umpteen mistakes against Newcastle,
And he protected
and that's what I'm saying, double standard, because it's one rule for Sancho and a different rule for Rashford.
But then when Sancho went through his whatever Sancho's going through, he went up training in the mountains, wherever you want to say it, trained with a team that he knows, sent him to like 20 or something like that. Excuse me. He like looked after him, and he never said anything about it. Never said this is due to mental health. Never said. He just said when he's fit, he'll be back in the team. That's all he said. He'll say I think he was good to Sancho in these moments. A lot of players he's shown support. And when Sancho came back, he hugged him, those on the touchline, and it looked like everything was cool. I think there's just been a breakdown in what's happened in this last.
But something has caused that breakdown.
Yeah.
That's the thing that we don't know. But clearly, they both think they're in the right. But when I see you treating footballers differently, when Rashford clearly isn't putting the shift in, and you go, well, and I can't remember the exact words, but he basically covered for Rashford and I'm backing him. And I thought to myself, I don't know why, because the kid's literally not done anything for you all season, and yet he consistently picks him, no matter how bad he plays. Rashford,
Isn't that backing? But that's what's so hard for as Man United fans. We're confused because we're like, wait a minute. They say that he doesn't look after players. He's literally standing behind the player.
It's a wreck, mate. Like, I'm looking at that starting 11 and thinking, you're picking Anthony Martial when you fucked him off on loan last season. You brought in an £80 million kid who should be starting for you because he's the future of the football club. I'm actually rate the man.
Yeah.
You're then consistently playing Rashford, even though he clearly doesn't want to play for you and he's fucked you off. His performance is speaking volumes, and yet you're protecting him, saying, "Oh, I'm backing him," and yet Sancho, who hasn't played for ages, you threw him under the bus. So it's so not consistent from Ten Hag.
Right,
That it tells me that behind closed doors, it's a mess.
I can't lie to you and say, from how it looks, I don't know what's going on at Carrington, right? But from how it looks on the outside, it's a mess. That's the one thing, Man United fans, we're buckled in for a madness. This season, we're looking like a mid-table side. We haven't won away from home since Jesse Lingard scored. It was
against I've seen that the top 8, 2021. Jesse Lingard and Ronaldo were the scorers that day.
I can't believe that. That just lets us know.
Top 8.
Top 8.
They've
Yeah.
never won away from home.
And hold on, let's just not to mug them off, but let's remember who that was against. It's against West Ham.
Like,
It's not like in that beat Man City or something like that. It's against West Ham. So the record probably stretches back even further without that.
when Man United fans are saying we're backing them still, if there is any, I think yesterday it might have been a turning point, because to see Man United for the third time in a row do what they've done in Newcastle, I think it is an eye-opener. But my thing is, there's the sunken cost fallacy going on here, where it's like, oh, we don't want to change again because we're scared we'll just get him, we'll be back here. Do you really want to trust this man with more transfer budget? You're getting Sir Jim coming in.
Well, now we've got a new transfer team. We can't trust him with making deals. Right now, we know that there's some of the signings he's brought in. Mason Mount is a head scratcher for everybody. And it's like, you lot watch us, you lot seen us, and you guys watch us as not United fans. And one thing you can clearly see is the midfield is broken. The midfield doesn't exist. And the fact that the thing that's hurting me as a Man United fan is, why don't you recognise that? And when you did try to fix it, you like the signings you brought in, you don't play. Amrabat we brought in for the midfield, he doesn't start, he plays copy. Then Mason Mount he's brought in, he's not starting his signings. Anthony someone they bought. He's scary.
He got Amrabat in to be that defensive metal. But I'm looking at Newcastle thinking, oh, he didn't start Amrabat, great, because he is one of the ones who would have protected the defence, and he brings Mano in, who's literally fresh back. It's a big game for an 18-year-old man. I actually think Mano's a decent player, but it's one thing looking good against Evan and coming in and fighting Big Joe Linden.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he thought that through at all, because Scott McTominay is like a headless chicken. Like, he will run around.
He's just running for the sake of running.
But he doesn't know what the fuck he's running to and what he's doing. You know what I mean? So I looked at that starting lineup and thinking, all right, you haven't put Luke Shaw at fullback, great, because we're going to kill you on the wings.
Yeah.
You've got a world level defender in Varane sat on the bench who could have played centre back. You put Luke Shaw fullback, that would have been more frightening for me. So I'm looking at your midfield, your defence, and your attack. Martial thinking, he's made all the wrong decisions, lads. It's a cakewalk. Now, the fact that I'm thinking that before the game even kicks off speaks volume.
His squad selection, his team selection each week tells me he's trying to send a message to his players. You could be in here, but you're not in here because you haven't done enough for me, sort of thing. And I think over a year and a half now into the job? What is it, about a year and a half into the job? And you're still having to send these messages. Like, he should have settled down by now. You should. I get that there's always a little time, maybe after his first 3 games when you'd lost all 3, and then maybe you need to send a message to the players and say, right, this is what I expect of you. But at this point right now...
Oi, look at him! Disgrace.
Before we get on to Josh,
Yeah.
I want to hear it from you, KG. Percentage-wise, you're in with the Man United fan.
I'm in with the Man United.
What percentage of the average Man United fan are they split on 10 out? Like for and against?
I think 60 for 40%. But it's gonna
60 to keep
60 to keep him.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck me.
I think
I don't know what they're watching.
I think that Liverpool game is the game that a lot of Man United fans are waiting for.
When is that? So the next game?
16th.
Hold on, no, Chelsea. We're playing on Wednesday night.
Check out this is how it goes. It goes Chelsea, Bayern, Liverpool. Bloody hell. So when ask me how fans are feeling, but I think 60 million, because Man United fans are, as you said, even if we're stuck in this thing about we've been on this journey for a long time, but we just don't want to change now. We're saying, we want to try and back this manager. But yesterday, he really damaged his reputation.
Yeah, and one of the mistakes I think Man United fans are making, just to wrap up on this is just my perception on social media, is you guys will be a Fulham or an Everton and they get gassed up and it's like, we're back.
You have to take
I'll watch it.
We're not back, we're just to celebrate.
But you stop complimenting your players as if you've beaten a difficult team, and I say this a lot, and I think to myself, like, you conceded so many chances. It's not going to go like this when you actually have the test in front of you. So
Can I ask
I hope that they get that answer.
Those 3 games you just said about, right? If you were to lose those 3, I know you won't think that you're going to lose to Chelsea, but if you were to lose those 3, how quickly would you pull the trigger? Because if you lose to Chelsea, do they not then look at that next game, and no matter what, a new manager can't install a philosophy in a couple of days, but if you were to lose to Chelsea, is there any chance at all we see Ten Hag show the exit pool? Because that Champions League game is so vital now.
To the whole league.
I run Liverpool. I think that Liverpool one is the one where I think if we take a 5-0 to Liverpool, it's over. I honestly feel that the Liverpool one, the Chelsea one, I'm calling it El Money Cup because both sides money is embarrassing. But you see, if we lose to Liverpool in a horrible way, because 7-0 was disgusting, but what Newcastle was able to do against us, Liverpool love transitional football. They're gonna murder us. And Man United fans, literally, they're all praying about it. They've looked at the fixture list and said, that's the game that says it. So I think that's what it's going to be.
Okay, well, Liverpool actually just won 4-3 today. We'll get onto that in a bit later. Let's talk. We're underway, by the way. 2 minutes into the game. City versus Spurs.
Who's Craig supporting today?
It's actually, do you know what? I know you're running a joke, but it's such a horrible situation to be in. Because we lost 3 on the bounce, so obviously we need a win. But I'm upset I want Spurs to win. But what I mean is, I don't want City to be 4 points behind Arsenal.
You're just supporting. So it's a conundrum.
I just don't want Arsenal to go 4 points clear of City. I don't like that. I do not like that.
So I like the pain that you're in.
I'm in between a rock and a hard place. So obviously I want
there's more places.
You know why though? It's because Craig is now accepting Arsenal on a gin, and they're a threat.
Yeah, I mean they were. I mean I was on ice all last season thinking they were going to win the league, and I thought, okay, this season they might drop off, and it was a bit of a fluke last season. But this season they don't look better. They're just harder to beat this season. They're
not more serious, don't they?
They're more harder to beat. Yeah. They're not better to watch, but they're harder to beat, and that's scary because goals win games and defenses wins leagues, and their defense right now is very strong. They look harder to beat than City right now, which is scaring me. So I'm like, if we beat City, which we need to do because we need to stop this run, then Arsenal go 4 points clear. So I think the only silver lining I can take, if I'm even allowed to say this, is that if we lose, which is probably going to happen because we're playing 4.
They're supporting City today.
I didn't say that.
Go on.
I didn't do that. Don't get my word.
I know that.
I'm not missing my word.
City are favourites and should win comfortably.
They will.
But they haven't looked great lately. And if Spurs.
They have a home though.
Yeah, I agree. But I feel like right now is the best time to play City in years.
No. Okay, but we're ignoring context, Brian. We're playing 4 fullbacks across our whole back line.
Your first choice team out from the start of the season, I'd be low-key sort of hopeful today for you guys. But because of the injuries, I completely...
We're playing Roy and Davis at centre-back. I don't like them in their actual position. And we're playing them at centre-back. And then our 3 behind Son is Brennan Johnson, Kulusevski in the 10, and Brian Hill. Like, what is this? Like, I don't expect us to get anything. I think we're going to get battered, if I'm honest.
Well, I mean, one thing I do like
Hey,
the big answers, like, I'm sticking to my principles, and I don't give a fuck.
But why would you rate that if you know that you need some sort of result after
Do
these
you know why?
3 in a
Do you know
row?
why? Because he is trying to build a repeatable process in the long term where his team get used to playing a set way so that when they do have all their players fit, it's so well drilled. There's a culture. So he's trying to do what Ten Hag never did. He's trying to create a culture. And
I know what he's trying, but my thing is there's nothing wrong for one-off games or at certain periods in the game adapting your philosophy to suit the opponent you're playing, the current situation you're in terms of personnel and injuries, and just respecting the league you're in.
Gotta play same white, mate. Gotta play same white.
There's nothing wrong with that, man. You can tweak it for like 5% of the time, and then 95% of the time just your way. There's nothing wrong with that.
what a stubborn bastard he is. I really respect it. But anyway, let's get on to the Chelsea game. How do you feel after 3-2, bro?
It's lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you.
Can I just say fuck TFL because I've just had to get a bike all the way here.
What's
Soaking wet, that's the commitment to the kick-off, isn't it? Come on. I just wanted to see you so much. Do you know what? It was a really convincing win. At no point throughout the entire game was I worried that we'd be.
He doesn't
Me and Josh were watching different games.
This guy always does this, right? He plays the like, oh, let me just take the sting out of it. Let's have it right. Let's have it right. Your lot were fucking lucky.
We were shit.
One of our worst performances.
Spurs! He's in! Pass it!
Too long.
He's celebrating! He's celebrating!
Go! You always let the punch.
Let's go!
On the line, mate.
No, that was a counter-attacking goal, actually. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. That was a Mourinho-esque goal, that goal.
This is incredible from Arsenal.
What's it for Brian Hill? What's it for Brian Hill, though? Lovely turn.
Don't you ever speak about him in that way again.
What was that?
Who next thing got there? Doku?
Yeah, he's not defending.
Bro, I'm telling you, this is the best line to play Man City. Vince there. What is Vince?
Wait, can we have some parliamentary proceedings right now at this table and understand what the hell is going on with Man City, guys?
You've been saying.
It's been on that, but right now, is it official? Because they had a mad game against Chelsea. They've had a mad game against Arsenal. Like, what is going on with Man City this season?
They're gettable. Them being gettable still probably makes them the best team in the Premier League. But my God, it makes for a more exciting season this year. Because I'll tell you what, they're not going to run away with it. They're not, and I know a lot of people, including Craig, I reckon you're the same. You'll think that you wait until January, February time, they do run away with it. I just don't see it this season. I just don't see it.
I don't know, man. They still got Kevin De Bruyne to come back. That's the one outlier we keep, forgetting.
But that's
not only
finishing game.
But that's not only their best player. He's arguably the best player in the Premier League. So we can't act like he don't make a difference.
I would put my mortgage, every bit of money that I have, in Man City win this game.
Don't do it.
Honestly, of course. Every bit of money I have, even in this position.
But
man.
regardless of
Are
that,
you sure about that, man?
Yes.
Regardless of that,
100%.
the point is we're getting more and more hope the more we watch Man City that they aren't the force that they once were. Even with Erling Haaland, and look, Kevin De Bruyne coming back is a game changer, but we also don't know how after however many injuries it is now, what level he's going to be at, and.
Could they rectify in January though and maybe bring someone in?
One defeat.
You're saying they still haven't replaced Mahrez.
Well, here's the problem. Is for me looking at the that's it.
Away.
There you go. Straight away, just like that.
Is that thingy though? Is that offside?
No, it's not. Spurs can't defend, man.
What's going on?
Simple as that.
There could be some offers there.
Oh, what's going on here?
So we had a free kick whipped into the box, and it was a header into the corner. But to be honest, Spurs should have defended this much better.
Look at the defenders on the pitch.
Oh, that is poor. It's an own goal. It's an own goal. The header comes off of Haaland.
No, is it Basuma?
And then it's kicked in by Son.
He scored two.
Too hungry. That hungry after he gets the first one, he thinks, I'll have another. Help myself to another.
I must admit, that is quite lucky for
Wrong net, mate.
As the captain, that's terrible.
Well, that is lucky. That is very lucky.
Wrong net.
The fact that doesn't, he's obviously trying to just flick that on, and he's flicked it towards the goal instead of away from it. I think that's actually a really lucky goal.
No, but you're saying it's unlucky, but this is. I mean, this is the third time this has happened this season. We scored an own goal, deflected goal.
Right.
It's becoming a habit. A really nasty habit that I don't like.
I almost took Josh up on that mortgage bit, I've got mortgages to play.
Yeah. I didn't get the bet off in time. I had to put my house on it.
So going back to the Chelsea game, you guys admit you were shit.
Yeah.
But why? Because you've obviously we're expecting you to start playing more like a posh identity of football. And for me, today it was one of the worst performances of the season.
I've got an answer for you. The one thing is captains. And what we tend to do at the moment is, I don't know what it is, maybe they've got a bit of money on it or something, but they see the captain's armband go on and they go, oh, I really fancy a red card today. I really fancy an early bath. And so Conor Gallagher goes in, he's already on a yellow card, and he goes, do you know what, I'm just going to do the biggest slide tackle I possibly can.
Yeah, but
just take him out.
Josh, we were watching the game, yeah, and I said that sending off, right? I counted 4 times I thought Conor Gallagher could have been deserving of a yellow card. And we were saying, like me and you have said it time and time again, we've got a disciplinary issue. But what sort of tells into that? It's not just the fact we've got a disciplinary issue. We're not very good in the midfield at tackling. We're not very good at keeping a challenge clean.
Remember Paul Scholes happens? There's a lot of that. And it was ironic because me and Joy were having a conversation right here, and Joy said, you know what, I would go and get in the summer, and I went, leaders, you need a few leaders, and we literally watched this for a second game in a row, your captain, different captain, because the other one's back, getting sent off, and yeah, it was like the wild
have a couple billion, he said.
It was, well, this is what they're missing, though. They have some good footballers, but you know how you need those players who can actually control the game.
Yeah.
When you watch Chelsea, the reason I love watching Chelsea is there is no control. It's end to end, it's fucking chaos. And before this game, you're like, Brighton can't defend, Chelsea can't defend, it's going to be carnage, and it was.
You got to remember, in 2005, that era, we had, captains of England, we had captains all over the pitch, we had Michael Ballack, captain of Germany, we had, John Obi Mikel, captain of Nigeria. Like, we had captains all over the pitch, leaders everywhere, right? Even when you go into the modern era, you had Cesar Azpilicueta, leader for Spain, you went through it, Jorginho, leader for Italy. And now, what they've done is they've gutted that squad, taken all the experience out and gone, do you know what, we're going to trust in youth. And that is a good idea on paper, it's a good idea in Football Manager, but it doesn't necessarily work in real life.
When is there going to come...
What is going on?
What are we looking at?
When is there then going to come a point when we actually turn around and go, okay, we know we've got this idea and this philosophy of how we're only bringing in young players. By the way, let's not sit here and ignore the fact that that method doesn't necessarily always work. And I say always work, half the time it's not working. Because if you look at half the young signings we've made, I would argue, and we'll get on to certain players, that half of them aren't good enough.
Can I
It's a goal.
I tell you what, we've had a few little bets today. You read my mind, who am I talking about?
Mudryk.
Mate, you're joking.
Oh,
What game were you watching? What game was it?
Can we just say,
Mudryk was a nuts.
it's about time we had the conversation, right? Mudryk has been at Chelsea for a long time now. He saw a lot of games, and now's the time where we should be seeing the level of footballing ability this lad has. Can he run fast? Absolutely. Is he a good footballer with a good footballing brain? Fuck.
You say Mike can run fast, mate, but he's shit in soccer aid every year. It doesn't matter. Mudryk, listen, let me just say, right, look, I will happily eat my words when and if Mudryk comes good. But today, true or false, Cole Palmer showed more in 20 minutes of being on the field than Mudryk did in the whole game.
Honestly, my brain hurts. Like, I feel like I'm going to literally explode.
He's not mental. He's not biased.
When Mudryk beats a man, I feel like you're going to be exploding.
Tell me why. Because all I seen from this kid was consistently giving the ball away and not being a threat on goal enough. And the one time he was, when he was through on goal for the penalty, his touch was so shit that the keeper was actually going to get a hold of it, and he was very lucky he was brought down because he wasn't getting near that ball.
So I would go.
But he won the penalty, but that was luck because he was actually getting. Miller was man with him. He overhit the ball so badly that keeper was going to collect.
I would go somewhere in the middle of that, right? I don't think he gave the ball away every single time he got it. I think that there was one point when he whipped a nice cross into the box that was nearly converted, and he won the penalty. Do I think that he would have gone to that ball and put the ball down? Absolutely no chance. There's no chance he's getting onto that ball. He miscontrols the touch just before it. But what I'm saying here is when, and listen, if it was for an injury, that's completely fair enough. But when you bring the likes of a Cole Palmer, okay, he didn't have a good game against Newcastle. Who did? Who did? Our goal scorer Sterling didn't have a good game. No one had a good game against Newcastle. When you bring the likes of Cole Palmer out, and the way we're seeing it on the field, it's a direct swap for Mikhailo Mudryk. I just don't think, regardless of fee, regardless of potential, how he plays for the Ukraine, I don't think you can justify it.
Can we let Josh explain? What is it you actually like about him and what does he bring to the team? Because I'm not saying...
His hair.
So the hair is beautiful. He's a good-looking man. He knows what he's doing. I would say this, right? I would say there are a few different areas I like. Defensively, you're going to go, what the fuck does he bring defensively? I don't know if you guys were watching Raheem Sterling today, but for me, this isn't a battle between Cole Palmer and Mudryk. It's a battle between Sterling and Mudryk. And I would much rather, every day of the week and twice on Sundays, play Mudryk over Sterling.
I need to pin you down a little bit, though, because regardless, the question was, what does Mudryk bring to the team? And you say defensive work. That's not what he was bought for. So I'm looking at like, what are we actually getting from him? If a new club was to buy him and you were selling him, how are you selling him? Because I'm just not seeing it.
Mate, he brings. So this is the first.
Take is crazy.
So this is the first thing I'm talking about because like from an outsider's perspective, I can go, oh yeah, Sterling's getting goals, he's scoring amazing free kicks. You go, okay, he's done everything, he's on form, he's a really really good player. But then you watch him for 90 minutes and you go, he's strolling around. When we had 10 men today, bear in mind I'm there in the stadium. Do you know what? I've got fan cam in real life watching Raheem Sterling. And he jogs around. He doesn't give a fuck. It's Rashford Mark II for me. Like, I'm getting sick and tired of watching him week in, week out, and he doesn't give a fuck about Chelsea.
I'm going to have to repeat the question.
Not give a
What
fuck.
does What does he bring to the table?
Let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Right, sorry.
Oh my God.
Just before you go. Okay. If the argument is that Raheem Sterling is not deserving of a place, why not Madueke then? Why is it Mudryk?
Just tell me what's good about Mudryk. It's a simple question.
So
It's not really a yes or no answer.
he's absolutely fantastic at beating a player and getting a cross in. He can do that week in, week out. He's absolutely brilliant at that. Again, if he wasn't making that run today and he wasn't supporting Jackson, we wouldn't have got the penalty. So Sterling wouldn't do that, Madueke wouldn't do that. There's no other player in the Chelsea squad that would have done the run that Mudryk did today to win the penalty. And then we don't win the penalty. And then it's 1-1. Sterling doesn't get on that ball. He doesn't have the pace to get on that ball.
No, but I mean the run.
So
how he got the penalty against Spurs.
Brian, I'm going to help you out. To answer the question, he's in there for pace. That's what you basically Josh is saying. That's
one reason, but he's technically very good.
No, he hasn't offered a lot.
Okay. There's another reason. Today he wins the ball in the first half. He wins the ball. He chops a player, cuts inside, does a shot for 40 yards. It was a whisker away from going in the goal.
Whisker.
There's the only player in our team that was excellent. Mate, honestly, I can't wait. I'm so excited for the moment where he absolutely proves you all wrong.
Can I just say, Josh, you've been saying that same sentence for a little while now. I can't wait. We can't wait. I'm pretty sure the Chelsea board, who are paying his wages, can't wait either because
he can't wait because he supports Chelsea.
I want to be on board with it. Like I genuinely do want to be on board with it. I want to be able to look at Mikhailo Mudryk and go, mate, I tell you what, there's something special there. But I feel like in these cases, when you see these little glimmers every now and again of brilliance, I think that the thing that nullifies that is when you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting, and then you cast your mind back to other players that are potentially in time show glimpses of brilliance, and you remember the way their careers went and how it never came to fruition, and you go, you could just be another one of them.
Let me keep it this simple, just to put a full stop on my point of why I rate him. If he didn't make the form run today, we wouldn't have got that team. We would have won 1 and we probably would have lost. Right? It's that simple. And then also everything else that he does, he knits everything together. And also, when it came to shove, the subs that were made, he was on in the final man. He was as the number 9. It just proves that Pochettino rates him. Like otherwise, he would have taken off.
I appreciate everything you've said, and he did make the run, which did result in the penalty. The reality is he probably shouldn't, in my opinion, he shouldn't have taken a bad touch, and he should have actually scored himself. And he actually got quite lucky that the challenge was put into him. And I think that the penalty was a harsh decision. My main concern, and I think that this should be the concern for Chelsea fans around Mudryk, is when you're looking at timescales of players who've been bought for big money, there's a finite amount of time before they usually come good, and there's a window where, a bit like Anthony Gordon for Newcastle, like last season, bit hit and miss. This season, all right, you've had half a season at Newcastle, now you're kicking on. We're seeing regular goal involvements from him week in, week out. 9 in 12 matches, right? With Mudryk, it's so scarce and rare that he does things that I say and I go, there's something there. And I'm putting that down in my head to his footballing brain. I just think he's more of an athlete than a footballer mentally. And when that's the case, yeah, you can be effective, but will he ever live up to what we thought when the name and the brand and just
when they stole him from Arsenal?
Yeah, when he was stolen from Arsenal, I thought, okay, what a signing that would be. And the whole package of when he was delivered at the club, the promo package, it looked great.
The cameo against Liverpool when he first came in, you thought, oh.
Yeah, he had the look of a little superstar, but for me now, I'm not on board with what
social media baller. That's what he is.
I think he's a good athlete, but not a great footballer.
I would be happy to change my tune if it does come to fruition. I'm just saying I don't put him in that starting 11.
I tell you now, there are 40,000 people in Stamford Bridge today that would strongly
All in?
every one of you.
Oh,
Because everyone in the ground rates Madrid.
We've seen chance for Spurs.
no. Honestly, there's something wrong with Man City.
We've seen
field-wise. They're not battling the way they used to. Like Man City could control games and you wouldn't have a chance. I'm seeing Spurs get onto the ball. They're having nice little
They
moments.
conceded 4 goals against Chelsea. They're not
What
controlling
is
games the
going
way
on?
they used to, for sure.
Jeez.
For sure. And I think the level of footballers that they've got is.
Has everyone just caught up to them, or have they just got back?
Well, I think
They're going to win this game.
When you look at who they're relying on more consistently week in, week out, Doku and Foden, as good as they are talent-wise, they're just not the same in terms of controlling the game as what they used to have in
Has
good-
Foden
good-
proven himself yet? As in, is Foden, are we all at the table saying Foden's like world class or what?
Do you know what I issue with Foden?
Yeah.
It's not the talent thing, because there's times he does things where I think you're one of the most gifted English footballers I've ever seen. It's the consistency and the big game mentality. There's been quite a few games I've watched him where I thought, you might as well have not played here. You've just drifted in and out of the game. He's not doing the things that I thought he would be doing by now.
Yeah.
Maybe that's me having unrealistic expectations of him, but under Pep, and with Pep Guardiola himself saying, most gifted footballer as a young lad I've seen, well, you're thinking, you should be doing now, maybe not Jude Bellingham level shit, but up there, you should be the one taking the game by the scruff of the neck.
He just was it.
And he is not the main man yet, and I don't see him. I think he's never going to be David Silva. He's never going to be like that guy. He's
Still early in his career though.
I like the guy, and good look at him, but I'm not trying to be a hater. But I just right now he's not the main man for City.
He's not why I
I thought he
him
would be by now. I thought we'd be getting there because is he even doing as I mean, I'm bringing Anthony Gordon in, but just because of the same position. But like, if we're talking about starting for England this season, based on form, I put Grealish, Foden, and Rashford behind Anthony Gordon right now.
Grealish?
I'd have Saka and Anthony Gordon in England first team.
Go on, Brendan Johnson. I saw him at a 21 Savage concert.
That's a scary front line as well. Saka, Kane, Andy Gordon.
You know
That
why?
would be a scary front line.
Because we would have the pace and aggression in Saka and Gordon, who do the dirty work and can fucking threaten. And then Kane in the middle, right?
Sorry for being rude, but just don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
Even
yeah, they're not going to be intimidated by any team that they play.
No way.
So when Southgate inevitably doesn't pick him for his Euro squad, what are you going to say? What's
Do
your
you know why he should though? Because Southgate is a safety first manager, and no Premier League footballer in the attacking third does more off the ball running than Anthony Gordon. He is actually going to keep you as protected as
Have
you
we seen Anthony Gordon get senior cap?
No.
Yeah, right, so he hasn't had a senior cap. So Cole Palmer is always going to have a lead here. But who do we think, not who do we think's better, that just become an argument, who do we think Southgate is more likely to pick out Cole Palmer and Anthony Gordon?
I think honestly it could be neither. I honestly don't think he'll say both of them.
Foolish.
I think he likes Grealish because
Yeah.
Grealish is on the ball a lot, and he helps take the sting out of games and boring it up a bit.
And he's loyal.
Slows it down, and it makes Southgate probably feel safe doing that. But I think that it's not that I don't rate Grealish as a footballer, but I just think like styles sometimes complement each other better. And for me, Saka and Anthony Gordon on either wing would be a nightmare.
I don't know whether I'm just on the Anthony Gordon hype train at the moment. I'm high on him, but I am high on him, right? And when I'm looking at this upcoming tournament, Anthony Gordon playing and starting for England could be Rooney Euro 2004 vibes.
Really?
Yeah,
Like that?
I'm
Okay.
thinking,
So look at that high.
No, he's not as talented as Rooney.
Okay.
But I personally don't see that. But he's so effective. He reminds me of Craig Bellamy back in the day for Newcastle. He's a bastard.
You know what?
And
You know
he
what
never
Saka
gives
did?
up.
When Saka first came in the Euro 2020, I think it was the second group stage match. Saka came into the
Yeah.
lineup, and from there it was like I was looking at it thinking, yeah, Saka's there for a laugh. He's not going to get on the pitch hardly. And then once he came in, you were like, you don't drop in. You can't drop in. And I feel like Anthony Gordon could have that sort of effect in the upcoming Euros.
He's one of the most effective players in Premier League football right now, and it's a shame because I think somehow his image kind of goes against him because he's got this little hard bastard like mentality, or like he's a nightmare. He's a wind up a little bit. He's very much a Man United player from back in the day. scorer for England's under 21s in the Euros, right? So he's proven like tournament football, he's cool with that. And another thing I really like about him is he's very like, he gave a post-match interview and he said, I just want to show Eddie Howe that he can trust me.
Wow.
And to say that at 22 years old, I'm like, God, you've got it. Like, you've got the talent, the drive, you've got everything that's going to take to get you to the top.
Two birds with one
Eddie
stone
Howe-
there, mate. It don't
Eddie Howe's
prove,
done that.
prove that Anthony Gordon's got it. Proves that Eddie Howe's got it. To have
Yeah.
players speaking like that about you.
Eddie Howe's done that, fan. You have to
the man.
say,
Can we go back to England? We'll go to Newcastle, but I do want to say England, the group has been,
who they got?
Denmark.
Slovenia, Slovakia.
I think I've written it down.
Serbia.
Sorry, I'll read it out to you. So England have Denmark, Slovenia, and Serbia.
Yeah.
And for me, like while we're on the talent, having Jude Bellingham and Declan Rice, who are having unbelievable seasons, and the likes of what we said that the front three could be, whatever front three we decide to take. If Gareth Southgate doesn't win this tournament, it's one of the biggest failures in international fucking history for me. Like because
Worse than like Gerrard Lampard.
it's right. No, it's right, mate. Even Gerrard and Lampard, they were different. I think Bellingham and Rice complement each other perfectly. It's a dream scenario to have them two in the middle, and then to have. We've literally got the best striker in world football, one of the best right wingers in world football, arguably the best central attacking midfielder in world football. Like, we're dominant.
Oh my goodness, they gave the ball up short. It's into the
Heel.
dealt with Spurs. Oh, that's it.
I think that when we speak about if he doesn't win the tournament, it being a failure, I think you've got to have some sort of context on how he doesn't win it. If he doesn't come within a whisker of winning it, I'd agree with you. If he doesn't get to a final, I'd agree with you. And is it a failure even if he gets to a final and doesn't win it? Okay, that it still probably is. But I think
No, it's a failure,
the main
bro.
thing is, if we do what we did last time and go out in, let's say, a quarter-final to France, that's just not acceptable. That's not acceptable. Like, we're looking at that group, we should be coming through top of the group with 3 wins in that group. You look at that, a lot of people who think Denmark, I actually think the hardest team in there is Serbia. But I think that if you look at that group, in total, we need to be completely outplaying these teams and going
You have to
into
understand though,
the
when you say it's always a final for every nation when they play.
Yeah, but it should be a final for
Doesn't matter, bro. Ustedes tienen el puto equipo, bro.
They're literally ingrained. No, because we've got better players than 99%. Like,
you know that is a
Factos.
great
Factos.
Are we not going to acknowledge that?
No, France aren't better than us.
Way better.
Right, well,
Are we not acknowledging that teams do you go for England? They have to. Is this one?
Doesn't
team?
matter, bro.
It's
If
one
you're
of those
the
nations
top
that
dog,
are
it doesn't
like-
matter.
Southgate needs to make sure that he raises those. Look, remember the last final where he bottled it? Like, the whole attitude of that final, again, was just try not to lose. It's like, no, you don't do that. This game, this is the game you fucking attack like it's the...
Yeah.
And it's that bitch mentality that Southgate has that pisses me off, because you can't have that in these moments.
Can I ask you this question now? If Rashford's form continues, he probably gets 5 or 6 goals. Yeah, it's insane. If Rashford gets 5 or 6 goals, do you select him for England?
No.
Because Southgate's the kind of guy that's so loyal.
No.
He selected Maguire when he wasn't playing. Would you look at him as a like that's terrible?
Is he that loyal that he'd all
Oh, no!
Fuck yeah, he is.
Clattered
A
off
little
the bar.
bitch.
What a shot that was.
To be fair, Tottenham let him have free rein there. You can't do
He's
that.
been getting a lot of free rein in this game, to be
Mate,
honest.
the amount of space, it's like they're inviting him to score a goal.
Look at this.
It's not good enough, this. Like, this is embarrassing.
Oh.
You can't, mate, he didn't even have to do much skill to get in the box.
Yeah.
Just let him walk in.
What he's been getting there, he's been the player that they're finding. And again, you lot playing like left backs and right backs.
It's a joke. It's a joke of a backline.
But then you lot been in this game though.
Big time. Yeah, you have.
You have. There was a moment. I think
Brendan Johnson.
Gil, was it Brian? Yeah, he should have found Son in the box. He didn't square it back. Son was getting mental. By the way.
There's 90 minutes. They can't keep this up for 90 minutes. but-
The Rashford thing really pisses me off, because his attitude at the moment stinks.
Yeah.
His output is piss poor. And then I'm watching Anthony Gordon week in, week out, run a fucking train on every team he's playing against. And sitting there going,
You're not gonna get.
you're not going to get picked either way.
You're not gonna get
I wouldn't be
It's
so
a fucking
sure, though.
disgrace.
I wouldn't be so sure.
It's getting to a point of ridiculous, though, isn't it?
It is, yeah, but I think we're drawing our evidence on the Harry Maguire situation. I think we're ignoring the fact that, yes, okay, we can all put forward an individual name who maybe is more deserving than Harry Maguire, but what we can't do is we can't deny that we haven't got tremendous
But you have
strength
to
in
remember that Man
that position.
City player. It's not just Harry Maguire, the Man City guy that hasn't played any football. Midfielder,
alternatives being Eze, maybe being Conor Gallagher. I'm saying again, it's another position on the pitch where maybe we haven't got the most strength in depth. When you go to the wings, we've
I
got
saw
a
a
lot
video.
of
No, I'm not
we've
even that
got a
much
lot of
back.
strength in
I saw a
depth.
video of you saying that Conor Gallagher's stat-wise and stuff being next to Rice or something like that.
Oh no, I just
Foden slaps it in
No,
from
Foden.
close range.
That was so easy as
That
well.
was beautiful. Tiki taka for
Thank God for that. Let's talk about Foden.
There's a Conor
No, I've got
Gallagher
Craig
video.
to pipe up about Foden now. He's
Well,
as good as Bellingham.
I do love Foden.
Yeah.
Do you know what it is though? This goal was genuinely just about how poor Spurs defended. Like, I'm all about celebrating good football, but this was just piss poor from Spurs in my opinion. Like,
It's a
that's
good run from
embarrassing.
Foden,
It's
though.
embarrassing.
Just look at this. Nice.
No,
That was Alvarez.
Alvarez.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
You're not trapping runner.
Alvarez
You're not doing a job.
fantastic.
You're not doing a job.
This is too easy.
Wonderful run.
This is embarrassing.
Acres of
This
space.
is embarrassing. Like, it's good football.
But this is on Ange though, bro. Like you have to put this on Ange. Like you're playing Royale and Davis at centre back, and
What
you're
else he
sitting
had?
at Etienne. Dyer's sitting on the bench, and I'm not a Dyer fan, but he's a centre back. Like what are you doing? You're playing City at the Etihad.
I'm gonna play one white.
Royale is a shit player in general.
White.
But what's that got to do? What's that got to
I'm gonna
do?
play one white, mate.
What's that got to do with picking a fullback at centre
I'm
back?
gonna go for the high line. It's sleep and dream about high lines.
Is it about trying to be too slow? Like, is that what it's about? Like he's worried about the ball over the top.
Yeah, but look, if you're pinned back like this, what's wrong with having Dyer in your box?
Yeah.
Because that's all they're doing. They're defending right now. Look, it's Davis and Royale.
That makes more sense for sure.
Like, what are you doing?
This is an onslaught now, and what you would be worried about is it becoming like the 5, 6, 7-0 because right now it's wave after wave.
Yeah.
We're watching the 32nd minute right now as if it's the 85th minute. Like they're piling it on as if they're looking for an equaliser, when in reality, like the game's good for them right now. They don't have to.
Every Spurs fan that watched Spurs knew that this was going to be a battle.
Yeah.
Because you can't play Royale and Davis at centre back. That just doesn't
It
make
is
any
mad
sense.
though. Royale.
That's like playing Shaw and Wan-Bissaka at centre back. And then who are your other fullbacks?
With Delo and Regular.
With Delon and Regular on either side of them against City and the Etihad. That doesn't make any sense.
Højbjerg fit?
Firing.
Yes. So he could play. He could fit.
He's not. He's playing Lo Celso and Basuma, and he's just. I don't know what he's doing.
But Højbjerg could surely do a better job than those wing backs.
That's what I mean. So what is the manager doing? Because you're not gonna have the lion's share of the possession at the Etihad. You're not gonna do that. So you're gonna be pinned back. So why the fuck are you playing two fullbacks at centre back? That doesn't make sense.
From someone without a horse in the race, though, even though at the end of this we're guessing it's going to mean 4 defeats on the bounce for Spurs, I don't think they're anywhere near to crisis point. Like, I look at the way I've watched all 4 of
First
these.
time in 19 years, right?
I've watched all 4 of these losses,
Yeah.
and I'm like, do you know what though? The identity is still there. That once it starts turning around, and it's going to start turning around pretty soon. Still think you're going to be up
But what-
eating around that top 4 mark.
What about the fact that in all 4 of those games we went 1-0 up first? What's that?
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, all of them we went 1-0 up first. Every single one of them we lost.
But Ange,
That's
the way
bad.
that Ange plays, it's always going to be a high scoring game.
Yeah, but that's
It
bad.
always
You
will.
can't go 1-0 up in 4 games and then lose 4 games in a row. Then under any circumstance, any way of looking at it, that is bad. And this will be the first time we've lost 4 in a row in 19 years.
Is it a case of what you wish for? Because you didn't want the whole defensive style
I
manager.
want balance. I
Yeah,
want
no,
balance.
yeah.
I want the overall thing to be attacking front foot.
Oh no! Oh no!
You've got to play some balance, man. Use your brain. Like, this is the Premier League.
Alvarez.
Oh,
It involves twice
it's
in
going
this
to be
game.
4-1-5-1.
This game could get nasty.
So we had an Alvarez shot from about 20 yards out there, bangs it off the post. But the worrying thing is
Hardly missed the set as well, man.
it's the attitude of City right now of like, let's just take pot shots. We're having shooting practice here.
Yeah.
It's getting a bit like we're playing with our food before we eat it.
They are.
Yeah.
But they are.
Yeah, but like again though, if you're putting in a battling spirit in performance, you don't want that, and at least then you have some moral victory there.
Tell me in what other team, any other team, a manager can get away with playing 4 fullbacks all across the line.
It is
Against City at the Etihad.
I hear you, but is there a world in which you know, we look back at the way you used to complain under Conte, be careful what you wish for, like, you wanted free-flowing attacking football, well, you got Kevin Keegan 2.0 right now.
Right.
You want,
Oh, this is
Right.
it.
Oh,
You know
no,
you're a
this
bastard.
is
Right.
awful.
I realised today that you're a bastard.
Oh, spicy. Very sense.
I finally realised today.
It's not being a bastard. That's a very valid question. And I'll say it's not.
Ask these questions at the right time.
No, but it's a valid question.
Podcaster, aren't they?
I think it's a very valid question because Conte and Mourinho, this will never happen under Conte and Mourinho.
Yeah.
You're not going to lose 4 on the bounce, and it didn't happen under them. As bad as the football was. However,
So have you
football is
progressed?
boring to watch.
Have you progressed?
I mean, I think we need a squad to really determine that because our first 11, we saw what we did in the first 10 games when we had all of our best players available.
Yeah.
But we need a squad.
You've definitely got better this season.
100%.
Even with 4 losses, they've definitely
Yeah.
got better.
Can we just explore the worry though, right? As a Newcastle fan, I know a lot about getting beat a lot, right? I'm quite well versed in this. And the one thing that can fuck you over long term, which you guys haven't really, maybe Craig a little bit, when you start getting more and more defeats and you get humped a lot, the confidence once it goes, it's very hard to get back.
I'm in that place.
I remember just that feeling of being defeated before you're even touching the grass. And all that Big Ange needs to do is just make sure that like you don't completely lose the morale of the dressing room and that you keep the spirits high because
Well, how do you do that?
Well,
With 4 defeats,
but
and we got West Ham next.
This
This is never easy.
This is the point that you're making though, is the way you do it is by not losing by loads of goals. If you're losing by small margins, there's definitely still ways you can take positives out of that and so that the dressing room keeps their chin up. But if this turns into 5 or 6, with Newcastle, once we started, I remember when Dan and Pardew, once we started losing by 4, 5s and 6s, it happened more and more and more.
Just to jump on that same conversation, even in the game again for us in the Champions League, even when we scored 3 goals, the rival fans said we're watching because I still might feel Man United might drop points in this game, and that's what it just goes to show. There's this thing once it becomes part of your team's psychology, it just becomes bad. So he does have to fix this because when we're winning games, I don't believe we're going to get through it.
It's like it's a lot easier to keep it clean than to take the rock.
I remember, right, as a Chelsea fan, I remember if we were 1 up in a game, I knew we were seeing it out. And even when we went behind, I'd go, we're going to win though, we're going to win. Mate, we were 3-1 up today, and I'd turn around to Brian, I've gone, we fucking losing this. It's so true. Once it gets into you, it's hard to shift it, mate.
But Robert, who was the centre-back pairing for Man United?
Kill.
Brian, did you ever think you'd be sat around the kick-off table as the one flying high in terms of standing lane? You got Spurs fan, Man United fan.
The last 18 months for me have been great in many ways. That's all I'm going to say. I'm very happy with the kick-off these days. Honestly, I've never been more happy to do a show. I got it. I fucking sprang at the face. I'm like, well, it's the kick-off.
I miss green screen. Sick on his own. This guy is on fire now.
Even after 4 defeats, we're still on the same points as Newcastle. We're 26 points apiece.
That really shows what a great start you guys had, to be fair to Big Ange, and that's why I personally think that Big Ange is actually a good manager from everything we're seeing.
Okay, but why is he not adapting?
Well,
Why is he not
because he's
adapting?
just
No manager is exempt of criticism.
He
I really like
3
Ange.
months into the job, though.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I'm not disputing that. Like, I like Ange. I'm not saying I want him gone anything remotely close to that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, you can adapt your game. I'm saying you can have a philosophy, be stubborn in your philosophy, and know what you want to play, and know that if you've got a massive injury crisis, still adapt and tweak things. It's the Premier League. You're playing against the best team in the world. They're treble winners.
I agree. But on the flip side, I think that Big Ange, look, leaders are stubborn, right? The good leaders especially are very stubborn. Alex Ferguson, the most stubborn bastard we've ever seen in the Premier League, and the best at the same time. Arsene Wenger, how often did he change his tactics and adapt his game? Never. Do you know what I mean? He was a passing football type of guy, an attacking football type of guy, and I think Big Ange is like of a similar state of mind of I don't give a fuck what I've got, I'm playing my way, and I just think Spurs fans have to just fucking accept this and get on with it.
and I think it will come along.
Okay, so then say Spurs lose the next game against West Ham, and that's 5 in a row. Then what?
Then what? Then that's the horse he rode in on. Like you have to ask the question.
He hasn't even dealt with this in his career.
You have to ask the question as fans, which Man United fans are asking the question right now. Have we seen enough to believe that long term this is a repeatable process that he's bringing in, that when we get better players and we give them, better support, we are then going to improve in the long term? Or are all these defeats showing us the red flags to mean that this is going badly? And that's why when Newcastle lost to Bournemouth 2-0, I seen creators making videos, Eddie's head on the chopping block. I laughed out loud. I thought, do you really think this one defeat tells me anything? Like, we're exhausted, the circumstances are extenuating, we've got a million injuries, just like yourselves. So I'm looking at like Joey always brings up, look at the past to predict the future. Are we going somewhere positive? Are we in the right direction? And is this just a bad speed bump? I think yes, from Spurs right now. Yeah. I think even if you park the bus today, you'd still get butt fucked. So, like, I don't know about that. I think all right, you've got Dyer. Like, is that really going to mean that you're all of a sudden going to win this game? Like,
oh, by the way, Dyer's got a knock. We just checked that. He's actually injured.
So even if you park the bus against City, like, City are experts at breaking down teams that park the bus. They deal with that every week. So, look,
it's better than being open though, knowing you've got like 4 fullbacks on the pitch playing open against.
Pretty playing open. I think he's actually just got shit defenders. And their position will be horrendous.
I said this in the match against Chelsea, though, for Tottenham. I said, like, if Ange looks at the way that Chelsea have been beaten time in, time out this season and says, okay, why don't we do that? And it doesn't work, then he's going to have to ask himself the question, why on earth did I not just stick to my philosophy? Because more often than not, that's working for me. So again, if he does park the bus against City today, and like you say, Brian, he still gets beat, then it's like, I should have just done what I know I'm good at.
Yeah, but then that's where the questions were against Chelsea. He almost nicks a draw, doesn't. You end up getting battered 4-1 in the end because you're playing 9 players on the halfway line. It ended up looking stupid. And then you give Jackson a hat-trick. It's the biggest stat pad of all time.
If you look at the teams who have had success against City this season, though, it is the ones who got a bit for them rather than showing them too much respect. I think Pep Guardiola has a little bit of the Mike Tyson fear factor about him, where a lot of opponents are beaten before the match even takes place. And as we're saying, Chelsea scoring 4 goals against them proves like Chelsea aren't even great at scoring goals, particularly. Their main man.
But they have literally got the better personnel though than everyone as well.
Who is that?
City.
No, absolutely. But what I'm saying is Chelsea scored 4 against City, which proved that if you have a goal, there is joy to be had. So I don't know.
Where was that? At Stamford Bridge?
Yeah.
It's a different kettle of fish, man. It just said they've lost 1 game in how long at Etihad? But
exactly.
God knows how long. They don't lose at Etihad.
Exactly. So you're fucked either way by your logic. So I think it was Big Ange. He's like, do I go down without the fight or do I go down swing?
I think we do what you said earlier. Lose by a 1-goal margin or something. Don't go here and get battered. If you go there, play highlights, try and play City at their game in their stadium, there's only going to be one outcome usually when you have your full team. So I don't know, man. I feel like if you're going to go there with a depleted squad and try and play, similar football to Pep Guardiola with his strong squad, there's only going to be one outcome, and that's a battery.
Do you not think though that he is showing them a bit more respect than he did against, say, for Chelsea? Like when they were down to 9 men playing that high line, it wasn't. Look, there's a reason City have had 10 shots to their 1. Like they are showing them a level of respect here. They are sitting back a bit. You've got Son on the counter attack. It isn't totally Wild West. And look, 2-1 half time, you're still in it. So yeah.
We spoke about Nicholas Jackson just now. Biggest news story of the weekend. You know when we say about high standards, right? Like our team needs to have a bit more high standards and whatever. Does that sum it up?
What? That he needs to get better standards? Are you making a little comment about a certain person? Was it him? I don't know. I've been doing analysis. I've been doing some very forensic analysis on The Voice. I've been almost doing my sort of like Mission Impossible.
Wait, I don't know what you're talking about.
So there's a Misfits boxing girl called Astrid, who you'll have seen. You know her, yeah. Shout out Astrid, right? Do you know what? This girl is a bit of a marketing genius, right? She's got the internet on strings, right? So credit to her for that. I'm not going to give her credit for live streaming a phone conversation with a professional footballer who I don't think he knew. I don't like that sort of stuff personally. I think it's up to him. It is because he obviously doesn't know he's being fucking live streamed.
Yes,
and after listening to his voice on an interview, then listening to that, I'm like, it's him. Of course it's him.
You didn't need to listen to his voice. He didn't get the nude so far. You know it's him. He still don't score. He's not, honestly, like, he still
Think
doesn't.
about this though. You're on £100 a week as a professional Premier League footballer, and you're asking a girl who does sell nudes for probably a few quid a month on her own.
Yeah, but it's always better than that. It is.
Makes you feel like, yeah, you will have to pay for it.
I didn't even know this Astrid where. I didn't even know who she was, so I've had to research her. Research her twice last night, once again this morning.
Do me a favour. Just say research.
Yeah.
No, you're £100 a week footballer.
On you.
And yet you're doing that. Like, where the fuck? Like, someone needs to get a hold of this guy. Do you know what I
No,
mean?
but she was saying to him the thing. She was saying, "Oh, you're going to win for me then," and all this, and it's like, yeah, I'll win now. Astrid Wet is putting it on me. You know what I mean? It's just like, mate, where are the standards? And I'm not even going on about her, the girl. I'm just saying, like, where are the standards? Well, yeah, I know footballers have their own personal lives and whatnot, but it's like, come on, man, yeah, you could.
No, but like, here's the thing: is like, and I'm going to be fairly brutally honest about this. Like, if you're a Premier League footballer, you shouldn't be shagging or trying to shag only fans girls. Like, that ain't your lane.
Oh no, in American sports, they love that.
Let's not talk about basketball. But those motherfuckers are insane. Right? They're not the standard to be holding yourself to.
Okay.
Right? I've all seen Aaron Hernandez and stuff. Like, no, I get you, right? But
But can I just say, right? You know, when we're talking about character, and we're talking about character within the players that we need in our teams, leaders within our teams, I know you can go, hold on, that's his personal life, got nothing to do with football, but I'm drawing a line here. That shows a lack of character, because I'm not being funny. You don't know the girl. You've clearly never met her in person at the time. Mate, you need to be aware enough that some people will do this to you. Some people will publicly out you and do that on purpose. You can't be taking that risk, mate. You can't be taking the risk of being on FaceTime. Could have been worse. And for all we know, it might have been. She might not put it out. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't be taking them risks, man.
But as a single lad, you know, what has he done wrong? What has he done wrong, really? Like, he's a single guy, you know, he wants a picture, you know, we all want a little picture every now and then.
just Google them. They're out.
Sure,
they're out there.
Yeah, but you want a personal one.
No, when you say what's he done wrong, I think wrong isn't the word I'm saying. It's more just like how I mean. You know what I mean? Like, you got to think about the position you're in. If you want to be the leading man for Chelsea and scoring the goal.
No, he was thinking about the position he wants.
Yeah, I bet you. We all know that position. I just think he needs to think about his image a bit, and also like, what kind of people do you want to be fucking around with? Because it's important that, like, as a young footballer, there's a reason why a lot of the footballers who go all the way to the top, it's pretty much one woman man. Like Harry Kane, for example, like they don't.
Or they're smarter about it. That's why you're right. The thing that you said earlier, Chelsea needs some leaders, because the leaders would have told him, the Lampards and John Terry's would have said, we don't do it like that, mate.
Don't do that.
Here's the
If you look at what Klopp looks for, he's always very particular. Like, what is the personal life of a footballer before, like, we bring them into the club? Like, hence why people like, you know, Mo Salah. I mean, Mo Salah's had his own issues, but in the ideal scenario, is the perfect.
They all cheat.
Do you know what's ironic about it though? And what's actually snidey about it as well? If you're banging goals for fun, do what you want, mate. Do what you want. That's my attitude on it. If you're banging goals in, do what you want. Do a bit of Astrid Wet, have a bit of Astrid Wet. But if you're not scoring, no. Don't be entertaining it.
Patrick against hers, you know.
She's a good boxer. She's Misfits champion. So one of them is actually real. Yeah, she's Misfits female champion.
Shut up.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of this girl.
You've got the site down there. But no, like, she knows, like, I've got you friend, what a fucking, like, game she's played. And it wasn't as bad as it could have been. So that's something.
Well, not really. What game she's playing for her personally, but she's selling herself off as a Chelsea fan. You're not a Chelsea fan.
I don't know.
There's loads of them.
No, but you're not. No, but you're not, because you know that reflects badly on the player. All right, we've all looked at it and it's a bit of a laugh and whatever, but at the end of the day, if you're a Chelsea fan, don't be doing that. Don't be outing players of your own club.
Yeah.
It's true.
If anything, rewards of the Scottish.
Yeah.
previous.
Send them.
She's got previous.
Send the nudes. But you see me in though, so I know there's no funny business going on here.
Respect to economy and bro, at the end of the day, this is.
Yeah.
When I watched that the day, I was like, yeah, this is shit.
He looked tired, you know, he looked like he'd been getting quite a bit all night.
Well,
Been up all night for self-care.
sense of the whole situation because watching him and Mudryk just fumble the ball regularly, getting a bit sick.
Chelsea fans, are you not gonna? I know we get to this game that we're watching right now, but Osimhen in January, you're not gonna go in because he's not happy at the moment. Says he only got 2 shirts as a kid. Chelsea won a Man United one, which is random, but he's got those 2 shirts at home. Would you not want your team to go in, or you think just wait for Nkunku to come in?
I don't think Nkunku's an all-out number 9, although that doesn't mean that I think we need to play with an all-out number 9. If you look at Mauricio Pochettino's history as a manager, even when you go back to like Southampton, he had Ricky Lambert, Graziano Pella, he was always liked a strong physical number 9. Maybe Pro will be the man, maybe Nkunku can play in that false 9, but if you said to me now, can we go and get Osimhen, and he's feasible and he wanted to come to us, then yeah, cool. So I'm not going to look at what I've seen over today and over some of the games this season and not think we're crying out for a number 9 that can put the ball in the back of the net. Ultimately, so's half the Premier League, more than that. So do I think it's feasible? Do I think we can actually go and get him? I don't think so. Napoli are still in the Champions League. They're still hoping to get Champions League spots in Serie A. I think it'd be really, really hard to get him out of there. And I think that if we go and spend all of our transfer budget or more on that one player, I was saying this earlier, I actually think we need about 3-4 signings, and that sounds mental. But I actually do think we need definitely 3. I think we need 3 signings. And how mad is that? Because how much have we spent?
1 billion.
A billion. I've heard it a billion times, but we spent a billion.
4 signings, Craig. 3-4 signings at Chelsea.
It's insane. Why would they need more signings? Why?
No, mate, like, I agree. But I'm saying, I'm looking at the team and we do.
I agree with
We
you.
actually do. We need
Where?
3 25-year-olds coming in.
Silva should not be in that fucking
We
team.
need 3 25-pluses coming in. We need someone, I think, for the end of I think we can get behind this season, but for the back line, we need someone in the back line because Chalobah's going, Silva's going, and then we're left with 4 defenders, and we need more than that, right? In terms of centre-backs. I'm not sure at the minute, and it's mad because we've spent 100 million on 2 of them, I'm not sure if the midfield is a little bit lightweight at the minute. Look at Conor Gallagher getting sent off today. Caicedo really didn't have a good game today. Enzo got on the score sheet twice, and it was one of his better games in recent times, but he's still giving the ball away, and obviously we need a number 9. So when you say where, right through the core of the pitch, that's where we need 3 signings. I'd love them all to be 25 or older and come in. Do I think we'll get that? Do I think that's realistic? No, but yeah, that's what.
How much the 2 in the middle, the £200 million, £100 million lads? I'm not like watching them.
Fact.
But yeah, you've really got a pair in there that look like they're made to play together. It doesn't look like it's working right now.
I do think though, and I'm not writing off Pochettino being the man to do this because sometimes some managers take a little bit longer to get this. Not every manager can be an Eddie Howe and Unai Emery, someone like that comes in, transforms the club overnight. But I do think that a player is often what a manager makes them into and molds them into. No one was singing from the rooftops about Joe Linton. Now look at him. No one was singing from the rooftops about so many of the players in that Newcastle team and the Aston Villa team that now we're looking at and going, God, they look like world beaters all of a sudden. So I do think that both Enzo and Caicedo have the possibility to get there, and I do think when you look at their age, but how long do we wait for the vision to arrive? You know what I mean? Because by the time it does get here, what sort of position are we in at that point?
And hello, wherever you happen to be, it's a fine night for football here at Wembley Stadium in London. My name is Derek Ray, excited to be bringing you match commentary, and alongside me, my broadcasting partner, Stuart Watson, and we're picturing a full squad battles match. Stuart, what are you expecting to see?
Yes, thanks as always, Derek. We've got 2 good teams here, so I'm anticipating a really good game. The atmosphere is electric inside the stadium before kick-off, and hopefully we're not disappointed.
So the initial 11 for the home side. Len Yashin begins in goal. Federico Valverde plays with N'Golo Conte in the centre of the park. And up front, Karim Benzema plays with Lionel Messi.
Do you think we see
And putting paid to the danger.
any real consistent runs this season?
And here's
Let's say,
how
for
Arsenal
example,
will line
saw
up.
Spurs go. How many games unbeaten?
Well, if they're going to play as a 4-4-2, they must make sure they stay compact out of possession and then stretch the pitch when they do have the ball. How they play in transition is going to be key today.
Let's not even go wild. Do you think there's a point this season when Chelsea win 3 league games in a row?
Well, you've won 1 already. I'm worried about the game against us. I'm not going to lie. If we play anything like we played against Newcastle, we're in for a battering. That's 2, and who got that?
Sheffield United after that.
Feel this, there is.
Caballero.
That could be the 3 there.
No.
It could literally be there.
It could be. But you know, like, for example, when we had beat Spurs and other times this season when we've won games, Burnley, for example, when we've won certain games, Fulham, and then who was it beat straight away after? I was always thinking, okay, now we're going to put a run together. And we just seem to not get there. And when I look at Mauricio Pochettino's first season at Spurs, I think it took him until the 23rd game of the season until he finally went on that run when he won 3 on the bounce. So
I thought that was great research. On that occasion, Joey's channel, we got because you went into the first season with Poch and how that went, and it really did open my eyes to it. But then I thought, yeah, but Spurs' squad compared to Chelsea's squad, the expectations were completely different. For me, the reason the inconsistencies are there are looking at Silva in the back. He's just looking too old now for me. And then going forward with the inconsistencies of Sterling, Mudryk, and Jackson, I'm like, the only way you're going to stop being consistent is if you buy a striker who guarantees you goals, who you can actually rely on. Because it is so, I haven't got a fucking clue what your team is going to perform like week to week now. God knows what the Chelsea fans are. Can we talk about Eddie Howe? Because I wanted to say, I've decided.
Sir Eddie Howe.
So you said we're not going to you're going to your top 4 as well. Do you apologise?
Oh, I said fifth, I think. But yeah, I still think we're struggling because of the squad depth. But what I'm now saying from Eddie Howe is those long-term processes put in place, consistent growth in other footballers. And the thing that worried me last season was when we lost against Hughes in the cup, and other big teams got one over us. I felt like we're just not quite at that level. And even now, with how ravaged we are by injuries, in the last 3 games, the way we performed against PSG, Man United, Chelsea, and the way we performed earlier in the season against big teams give me the hope to go, okay, when you get a few more top players, which is going to happen, Eddie Howe is capable of winning the Premier League. I'm not saying he's going to win the Premier League, because I think that in order to take a Premier League title away from a Pep Guardiola, it's like prying.
It's the best time.
It's like prying fucking something out of God's hands, right? He practically he owns that thing at this point. It's very hard. But what I'm saying is, as a manager, he has got the ability to win league titles. He's as good as they come. Maybe not quite Pep level yet. I don't know if he ever will be. But he doesn't have to be Pep level.
Pep level's crazy.
Yeah, but what the point I'm making is Pep just has to have a dip. And Eddie Howe has the ability to be better than Pep for a season. I think that is actually. People might think I'm crazy. He's one of the, if not one, he's one of the most talented English football managers that I've ever seen in my life. Because if you look at the great teams that we've seen in Premier League history, English football managers, Kevin Keegan and Bobby Robson were those guys, and I watched them closely. But they didn't have the battle and the tactical sensibility that Eddie Howe has to combine gritty, dogged determination to keep defensively sound, but also to play fast attacking football going forward. It's very Jurgen Klopp.
How you control the culture is how you control the culture. At the moment, you can tell everyone's bought in. You see when he said with Anthony Gordon, that thought I just want to impress Eddie Howe. When you start to go the creme de la creme in players, which I don't think you should really do. I think how you're building is correct.
So how we need to control the culture is to buy high quality younger players, not too young, but ones with a point to prove who haven't achieved. So Sven Botman, Bruno Gimenez, Tonali before the ban, and Issa, they're all of that exact profile where you're going to be one of the better players in world football, but you need a manager to impress who you can respect because you haven't achieved more than him. That's one of the main mistakes Man United have made. They brought players in like Varane, Ronaldo, and all these Casemiro who achieved far more. They look at Ten Hag and they're like, who the fuck are you, mate? We can't be doing that kind of. And I know people might think I'm crazy, but like I'm looking at the progress from day one and thinking, battle relegation, top 4. We're so ahead of schedule, and then when we enter the Champions League, yeah, we've struggled a little bit, but in every game, I'm like, we're in this game.
That's a tough.
We had the grip of death, and yet. The team that were the most feared, we've taken 4 points from, and the only reason we didn't take 6 is because of the last minute. We literally dealt with Mbappe. Mbappe didn't get a fucking kick in 2 games of football. Kieran Trippier still got him in his back pocket till this day. So I'm looking at how we deal with some of those better players in world football and looking at the way how consistently, tactically, is digging down some of these managers and going, all right, you can't compete with Pep yet because you don't have the quality he has.
The threat is there.
And the same with Jurgen Klopp and maybe Arteta. But how far away are you from doing that? And when you do that, look at how much Arsenal struggled with this earlier this season. Look at how much Liverpool went within minutes of losing to us. And even City didn't dominate us at all. We held our own against them. The ability in Eddie Howe is there, and I think he can win. I think he can win a Premier League title.
You know, when we look at Eddie Howe, right, and this is another thing, and looking at Newcastle in general at the moment, I remember Man City's guys when they went on their way to winning the first Premier League title, when the foundations were laid a couple of seasons before they actually won it, because a couple of seasons before, I remember like Adebayor sprinting the whole pitch, a couple of seasons before, what Man City started doing is, yeah, okay, they couldn't maintain it over a 38-game season, but they started going into more or less every single match with the big boys, with the top four it was back then, being really competitive. Half the time they're winning, but they're never like outclassed in those matches. And Newcastle are so ahead of schedule in doing that, because now you put Newcastle in a one-off game with absolutely anyone. You go, there's every chance Newcastle winning this, and the record so far, when you look at the Champions League game as well, the record suggesting you're gonna either win, or even in a match like against PSG, you're gonna come out here. I know this is the term people don't like, but as the moral victors, you know what I mean? So I think that little stage in the progression that we saw when Liverpool went on to win the first Premier League title, when Man City won the first one under new ownership, well, not new now, but when Man City won the first one, them little steps of actually really competing in the big matches with the bigger teams, that's where we're already at with Newcastle. So I would say, do you know what, and some people might disagree with this, I think they'll do it quicker from point of takeover than Man City did. In fact, I'm sure they'll do it quicker. What did it take Man City? 5 years?
5 years.
5 years. Newcastle do it quicker.
So we're about a year and a half.
What are you basing that on? So you basing that on getting new signings in, really improving the squads? Like,
I'll give you an example of what's a game changer. 40 million quid a year from Adidas. All of the extra sponsors that are from Saudi. But the Adidas deal is mega. We were getting previously that about 5 million a year from that fucking other Castori. So the amount of money we can spend is going to go up tremendously.
Obviously, Man City will have the edge because the financial fair play rules weren't hindering them anywhere near as much back then as now Newcastle's are. But when I look at the squad of the takeover, bearing in mind, yeah, like, let's be honest, like a lot of this Newcastle team was still there before the takeover. And when I look at the squad, it's very similar to what I link it back to with Chelsea, right? Chelsea were a cup side, yeah, we were getting in and around the top four. We were a cup side before our takeover. What that meant in terms of being a cup side that were winning cups, 5 trophies in 5 years before Abramovich's takeover, is we had players in that team that had a good mentality and a good mindset to already win. I don't think Man City had that at that time. I'm not discrediting the personnel they had there. They have Mika Richards there, a couple of others. Not discrediting them, right? But what Newcastle already have, without bringing any of the new ones in, is they have those players that have that dogged mentality, that willingness to fight already. And I think that in acquiring those players and bringing it out of the players that were already there, like Fabian Schär and other players, I think they're at that point a little bit quicker than Man City.
You know, when you say mentality, that's exactly what makes me think it's going to happen. And when I said Bobby, even as a kid, a delusional child, I never thought we'd win a fucking trophy. I never believed it. This is the first time we're going to fucking win a trophy. And the reason why we win it is
to the game. It was a really good result for me today.
I can say it's winning a trophy in the next year or two straight up, because that mentality of never say die. And when I remember watching the Leicester City team, there was this thing where they just kept winning and winning, and every time you thought they were going to slip up, they weren't. And I look at us right now, and then the profiles and the way Bruno Guimaraes and
oh no, what's he done? Criminal.
We're back underway. What a save!
What's happened so far is they've taken off their winger, Brian Hill, Højbjerg, yeah. Very strange.
We've gone from a 4-2-3-1 to a 4-3-3, I think.
Good save from this was Bernardo into the top corner with the outside. It was beautiful.
And great. Do you know what? Despite what we say about how players' mindset should be and how they should think, I very much doubt outside of 3-4 clubs, there's 3 teams or 4 teams in the Premier League this season when if you go in their dressing room, the whole squad entirely believe that they're going to go on and win a Premier League title. I'm not on about this season, I'm just on about in general. Maybe you look at the Chelsea's, you say, you got a young, Liverpool do, City do, and Arsenal do. And I'm telling you now, I really do feel like Newcastle do. I'm not saying they can win this season.
What's the average age of the Newcastle squad?
I want to say it probably on average we're at about 25-year-old.
24, 25.
Yeah, because we've got a few young'uns, but then we've got a few senior guys. So it's somewhere in the middle.
Because Trippier is such an important player, but he's getting on, isn't
In the game yesterday, it was 27.
Mate, Kieran Trippier, Jesus Christ. Like, the lack of respect for him out there right now is insane. This is one of the greatest English fullbacks of all time right now. Like, in the World Cup, mate, and that response from you is exactly what I'm talking about, and I don't mean it as a dig, but if you look at the ability to play a ball, the ability to take a free kick, the crossing ability, and more so, the defensive ability, we're talking about someone who pocketed Mbappe 2 games back to back. Like, the bloke was just an average fucking left winger, right? Every single game,
Good
I have so
evening
much
tonight.
faith
The
and confidence
spotlight
in this
falls
guy.
on North
He's
London.
in
We
the
find
all-time great
ourselves
Newcastle
at the
team
home
already. He's
of
already there.
Arsenal.
But I just
I'm
can't
Derek
understand
Ray,
why,
and my
like,
commentary partner, as
I don't know
always,
what it
is
is
Stuart
about why he
Robson.
isn't
And
held in
everyone
the
here
steel
on
like he should.
centre
Maybe it's because he went to La Liga and he won a
There's so many
Arsenal
Not just
against
that,
the
he played at
absolute
Spurs
mad
for years and he didn't win anything with
Well, both
Spurs.
Well, I think the
reminding
Spurs
their players
version
to
of
start in the
Trips,
game
ironically,
quickly, pinning the
even though it
opposition
was
back,
a
playing the ball
good version,
forward and regaining possession
Simeone
as quickly as
changed it.
possible.
Simeone
Hopefully we'll
pulled
get
the
a really
best
good
out
game
of
Did he
it.
play in the Champions League final for us?
Yeah, he won
Keeper did his job
a
to
La Liga
begin
title,
with,
obviously.
and
He
held
did it
back the
against the
keeper
best
at
of
the
the best.
second
That
time
was when
around.
Barca and Real
Well,
Madrid
he's
were
just pulled off a
motherfuckers.
great first
I
save there.
can't believe
Now
how
He's a
can
really
all
good
calm
leader,
down.
and I think that's what one thing that we can see from him is really good leadership, great mindset as well, and he's hungry, you know. So that's the kind of player you talk about what Reece James offers. This guy offers a lot. The only thing, the
This
problem
is
with that
going to
he
be a
has is
real
there's
test of
so
the mettle.
many.
Straight
I'm not
there,
having it
rightly
anymore.
so. But how will they replace it?
Kieran
They've got
Trippier
to
is best
reorganise now.
defender England have. Any fucking position. Any fullback, any centre back. Kieran Trippier is outperforming everyone. The man's pocketed Mbappe back to back and made him look bang average. So much so, Mbappe
Has eyes for goal.
did the scathing interview
Well,
after the
real quality
Newcastle
all
game. Like,
around.
they have
How
nothing.
about that
They
free
just
kick?
want to defend
And
all
how
of that. It's
about
like,
the
bro,
save?
you're frustrated because you ain't doing shit against us. Because you're up there. And remember, who was Kieran Trippier next to? He's not. He's next to Fabian Shaw and Jamal Lascelles. We paid 3 and 4 million for these guys.
And you know when you say about him going under the radar, an element of that is, right, we'll talk about what a good defender he is, but if I go to you now,
Who can they pick out?
tell me the best creative players in
And
the Premier League
no-nonsense
right, this
defensive
season,
clearance.
you'll go, okay, Odegaard, and you'll say a load of players before you get to the man who might have changed
Well, you
after
never
this
quite
weekend,
know who's going to
but
dominate
before
the
this
game in
weekend,
advance, but I
statistically,
think you can
most
maybe make
chances
an
created in
argument
the
for
Premier
this
League
fellow,
was by
Stuart. What do you think we'll see from him today?
And by the way,
I
I
would
put a bet
describe
on
him
before
as
the
the
Manning
best when
game
he's playing at his
for an
best.
assist for
He
Kieran
glides
Trippier.
past defenders, he's got
So
that
who you
ability
have
to
in your
run
team
with the
for Kieran
ball
Trippier
into
or
open
Walker?
space, he can pick out a pass, he can wriggle out of tight
I think
situations.
the better question
He's
to
the
ask
most
me, Kieran
talented
Trippier
player
or
on the
Reece
field
James?
today.
Who are you starting? Let's all do
good
our back
effective
four.
pressure.
I'm very
sloppy
interested.
by the
Who
line.
would you put?
He's not in there.
No, do you know what? I think I
Just the
would.
tackle that was needed.
I'd be able to fit both of them.
I think I would put Kieran Trippier in there, and I'll tell you why.
been playing
Because
at
I,
left back.
because I think you can play him at left back, and also I do think that you can play
That was
Carl
shabby.
Walker in the middle, like in the middle of a back four as well. But I will say one thing, right?
I like
Kieran
Fine pass
Trippier.
from Vianney.
One thing I would say, Kieran
Brilliant
Trippier
save.
is dead balls are going to be massively important in tournaments. And at the minute, when Kieran Trippier steps up to take a free kick, I know that free kick is on target at minimum.
Absolutely.
At minimum, it's on
Robbed it
target.
off the ball. I was so scared. I was like, oh no,
Ball with
Onana
Martinez.
doesn't need this
Yeah.
right now.
And
The
in the
issue
right
is,
position
I
to
understand
read
that,
it.
like, Trent has got outrageous talent, Walker the same, Reece James the same. I'm not denying that they're
Come
great.
on.
All I'm saying is Trippier's outperforming them all with no
Oh,
doubt
nice
in my
ball.
mind.
So he's a starting right back.
But yeah, but I'm not saying that's going to
Well,
happen
the
because
supporters think it's
of
on.
the legacy of
It
Kyle
should be.
Walker, like he's achieved a lot, and I understand that there's favouritism and all of that. But if we're talking about form right now, like I'm looking at Kieran Trippier going, I wish this guy wasn't 33 because you are so fucking good, it's a joke.
But those players you just named, though, who's the best
Who
up
can he
here?
pick out?
It's Trippier.
No,
Yeah, I
but
know
Carl
who
Walker-
goes on in people's
let's
heads,
not do
and
that.
I know
Carl
Carl
Walker's
Walker. I know there's a
Carl
very
Walker's
there's a
different.
very close shout there, Colin. But look at Kieran Trippier, and I'm like, I think you're the best mentally out of all of them as well. I think you're the
For
most.
his own
After what
highlight
Carl
reel.
Walker's achieved in his career,
Will
you
this
got to say he's
corner
number
bear
one.
fruit?
And even when they both played for Spurs, Trippier 8 bench.
Yeah, Carl Walker's different.
But regardless,
Let's see about the
I
delivery.
think that Kieran Trippier is the best
And clear
fullback
for
I'm watching in
danger.
world football right now. It's insane how good he's performing this. At 33, I can't wrap my fucking head around it. Like, I sound like a fucking lunatic.
So who's your back four for England then? Do it.
I mean, they're fucking.
You know Harry's
away.
there.
It's a shit debate because like the centre backs are just not good, and
Yeah.
we've always been chopping and changing them. We've never really had.
We're talking
a
about
setup.
Newcastle.
Example
I'm
of
trying to get my
that.
Eddie Howe shit. I'm trying to get my
To them for
guys.
winning
proper-
back
No, and listen.
Fucking hell.
Do you know what?
You didn't respond to him
I know. I don't agree with him. man. I don't agree with him.
Likes to run with the ball at his
I
feet.
don't think anyhow, in my opinion, can get to Pep Guardiola's level and dethrone Pep Guardiola. That's my opinion. However, one thing I will say is, like you said, with the amount of money you've spent on the players you've had, and you just named the two centre-back pairing that played against PSG, how much he spent on them. The fact that he's getting these players to play at the level they're playing at, not just tactically, but just the effort and commitment they're giving him for this Newcastle side, you have to take your hats off anyhow, because we don't know what he could potentially do with a lot more money or better resources. However, though, because for me it felt like he was jumping straight to Pep. When you still, like you said, got Klopp and Arteta there, and I don't know if he's better than Klopp. So
it's not necessarily about
Is he better than Unai as well? That's the question.
What we're talking about isn't necessarily like I can't prove anything I'm saying. I'm speculating on the data that I have, and I'm going. I can see Eddie Howe because of certain things. So take for example, you mentioned Pep. How many Pep players have we seen ushered out the door because they weren't good enough for him? He didn't have to make chicken salad out of chicken shit. Eddie Howe has been doing that, and Pep Guardiola point blank refuses to do that. He's like, give me the champagne budget.
Some people walk into their greatness, man. Some people don't need to go through the trenches to get there. They're just that good.
But what I'm saying is that Eddie Howe is showing right now that if he is then given a similar budget, oh, you're in trouble.
That's a good-looking
Not
ball.
only does he make good signings as well, like, I think the player management, when you look at, we're all singing from the rooftops about Anthony Gordon, and rightly so, but I've said it before, I brought up the time when, do you remember when Anthony Gordon got subbed off against Brentford? He had a little bit of a touchline spat with Eddie Howe when he came off the pitch, and I remember thinking, because we'd heard about attitude problems around Anthony Gordon before that, and I remember thinking, maybe that's why Chelsea didn't go for Anthony Gordon. Maybe he's got a bit of an attitude problem. And he showed me there with Eddie Howe on the touchline there. And look, like straight away, there's no issue. I'm not digging out Ten Hag, but there's no banishing. There's nothing like that. You're back in, you work hard, and now look how he speaks about him. Not only that, players.
Two people are consistent at the moment.
That's fucking crazy.
But then we look at the common denominator, because okay, you can't go on that one case study because it could have been for both. What about Jamal Lascelles? He's playing for Newcastle before Eddie Howe even comes in. Eddie Howe comes in, Jamal Lascelles is sitting on the bench. But then when called upon, Jamal Lascelles has the right attitude to be able to come in, take his chance, and still believe in his manager. They're just two players. I'm not a Newcastle fan. They're just two players.
There's been explanations for how he maintains these relationships with the back lads, the ones who aren't necessarily picked first. And he always makes them feel included, makes them feel loved. He deliberately kept Jamal Lascelles as captain. As official club captain, even when he was on the bench, because he valued the leadership. He makes you feel valued, even if you're not starting every game. And we've heard from the likes of Joe Willock, who's also said, when I was injured, Eddie Howe was in touch every single day for months on end. Look, I can't prove anything I'm saying, but I just think that you can look at what you're saying with this insane transformation that's way ahead of schedule, with this less than 10 Hag spent, barely, but less. And the fact that he's outperforming so many managers, and I'm thinking, when you've got the same level of weaponry, which is coming, as Klopp or Pep, well, then you're in for it then, because you're already giving them a fight already.
Can I do a counterpoint to that? In that, the question I have for you is, can Eddie Howe deal with the level of petulance of a player like Mbappe? Because let's be no better about this.
You're all about an extreme example.
Okay, let's maybe not Mbappe, but I'm talking about like
big players,
all of the boys you've got at the moment are boys that are desperate to be at Newcastle, desperate to be in the Champions League. They're so chuffed to be there. You've got, Jacob Murphy literally smiling like a Cheshire cat because he's so happy to be in the Champions League, hearing the anthem. I just think that there's going to be a moment, and this is an unanswered question about Eddie Howe, and this isn't a criticism of him because we don't know the answer to that, but how is he going to be able to deal with the egos? And this is the thing, right? When, you look at all of these signings, Arsenal have got egos, Liverpool have got egos, United have got egos, like, it's almost, it has to come. It almost has to be that point where you've got to, get these big players, big name players that sell the shirts, that are there, representing the club. You won't be able to move on and go to the next level. And so this is the question. And do you know what? Eddie Howe might very well be able to solve the question here. But it's a question that we don't have the answer for. And it's something that I do worry about, because Eddie Howe needs that sort of like collective buy-in. And if he doesn't get that, then, you might start seeing some cracks form.
The one thing that you will get though that Newcastle have on their side is the atmosphere and fans. They do have that animal feeling, and it'll be better. quite sing-the-song, innit? It gets a bit quite, you know what I mean? These lot, like they've been taking off their shirts in the winter the whole time. A lot of players are gonna come. A lot of players will like really warm to that kind of environment.
But you talk about big name, give their all. We've got two midfielders starting for Brazil.
And played
Pretty big, right? Brazil, pretty big team. Like Bruno Guimaraes. Also, there's something about him, and I only sort of realised it in the last 2 weeks. I was like, you're like fucking Roy Keane, but you're like,
chill out.
I swear down. He's like,
Alexander
he's like,
You said anyhow. You said that's getting too far. That you know they want to bring the sin bin into football. You just said Pep Guardiola anyhow, and let that one go. And it was a fact when we said, you know what, he's happy.
I'm not saying
What you're doing right now is crazy.
You're Mr. Turner, I'm not saying that Eddie Howe is as good as Pep. I'm not saying Bruno is as good as Roy Keane. I'm saying that in a season, Eddie Howe can finish above Pep Guardiola with more investment. I believe he's got it in. And when I look at Bruno Guimaraes, I'm reminded of the way Roy Keane used to play football. I'm not saying he is going to achieve what Roy Keane did. However, I think he's got other things in his game that Roy Keane did. I think this guy has got all the fucking ability needed to be one of the best midfielders, and I've said this from day one, from early on, but now there's been moments where I'm like, remember Roy Keane against Juventus? One man on a mission. Bruno's like that at times. He really fucking is. He's not
who the fuck is his number now?
If he was playing for Manchester United right now, every Man United fan would be watching him going, he's like a Brazilian Roy Keane. His style is combative, yet very tidy, doesn't make a lot of mistakes, keeps the team around. He's a boss.
But can I say something though? In terms of him, who's the other one? Joe Lennon? Is that the one that's from Brazil? Yeah. Respectfully, I think that just says more about Brazil right now. Because even fucking Richarlison plays for them. So does Jesus. Like the Brazilians of today, this Brazil is not Brazil that I grew up in.
I read what you're saying.
That's not to disrespect the players you just brought up, because they're good players. But I'm just saying, like, we grew up on like Galactico Brazilian.
And however, there's less big stars than there's ever been in football, and football is now more about building a team culture than it's ever been. And Joe Linton is not your typical Brazilian, right?
Bruno is special, but not Roy Keane.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's going to have that level of career, but for me, if you're talking about pure footballing ability, I'm talking not as the character of Keane, not the expert that made Keane. I'm talking about if you're judging them both on footballing ability, Bruno Guimaraes at the end of his career.
He looks better to watch than Roy Keane. He's definitely better to watch. Better to watch. Silkiness. Roy Keane's not silky, bro. Let's be real.
This is insane what we're doing.
Was Roy Keane silky?
It doesn't matter,
but that's what we're talking about.
No, I don't care, guys. When you talk about a midfielder, when you talk about because it's important. We can't now diminish. Right now, we're doing some diminishing work.
That's not diminishing.
Taking it is diminishing. Right now, you can't let him. He doesn't get close to him. You can't be next to me. I'm Roy Keane. What I've achieved in the game until go away, go and achieve some stuff, and come back.
Incredible. You're
exactly.
right. I'm only talking about today. That's all I'm talking about.
You see, Sir and his heartbeat on the pitch. It's Roy Keane.
You had 10 heartbeats.
Do you know what? Roy Keane is the heartbeat. Roy Keane is in that. Roy Keane is like Alex Ferguson on the pitch. No, it's facts. I'm not facts. So we can't play around. When we talk about players, let's not talk about the reason I'm not hearing Bruno Guimaraes' name next to Roy Keane. Because the reason I'm talking about Roy Keane, we're not doing that.
Using him as a great example of a footballer.
I don't like it.
He has a great player who achieved everything.
I don't like it.
And Bruno Guimaraes has a lot of those characteristics.
I think this is disingenuous. I can't believe what's getting on this table. I'm disgusted. I understand what Craig's doing right now. I don't know what Craig's doing. You're riding a high, and you smashed us yesterday. So I'm sitting here taking a lot. I'm sitting here just taking it. But what? That's getting a step too far.
No,
it's not happening. I'm not doing it. No.
We have to accept though. Like,
yes, I am.
Sometimes you can compare a player that you're watching now to a great footballer and go, he's quite like him. Like, is that not allowed now?
I don't think so. I think there's some players that you got to leave out.
Roy Keane is not Ronaldinho.
I think some players.
It's not Neymar, Ronaldo,
great though.
No, but
he's great.
The point is about Roy Keane's footballing ability was it wasn't.
Why do you say like Lampard or Ballack or?
Who is he?
Why do you mention those ones, bro? Talk about Roy Keane with the correct energy, and saying Bruno in his tender career that he's having, and he's doing well, and I like him.
Let's chill out.
Let's chill out.
Shit managers.
No, but what you just said about Kane is exactly what I'm talking about. When you go, he is the manager on the pitch.
Yeah.
Like, he controls the game. And Bruno is doing that. And I look at Bruno and I think you could play for Real Madrid or anyone. Fuck knows why we're the lucky ones who get to have you.
Yeah.
But he's world class.
Can I just say something? I know we're talking about Newcastle, just while we're on the game. I like what Andrew's done here, though. He's changed it all.
Look here.
But there's nothing wrong. I'm happy to backtrack on things. If I feel like I'm wrong, I'll correct myself.
Fair enough.
What I'm saying is, he's made a change. He took Brian Hill off. He put Højbjerg on, and we've been in the game. We've got more control of the game. We've looked better, and this is what you was criticising Ten Hag about, not in these big games against big teams, showing that.
Can you score?
No, he's fucked it. He's fucked it. He's fucked it.
He was
offside anyway.
He was
He's offside. But yeah, like good managers being able to see something in a game, make a little tweak, and then readjust. And Ten Hag just doesn't do that.
I don't know what. I think we finished the Man United section.
I don't know
how we read.
Bruno, the manager on the pitch, would have changed that.
Do you know what it is,
Well,
right?
we would have done the tactics.
Do you know my favourite bit? I didn't even bring them up, but I had in my notes, I was like, ask KG if Onana still turned a corner.
Oh my God, he said he turned a corner, innit?
Do you know what?
It's a bloody roundabout.
It's a roundabout.
I've seen this since when that cross comes into the box and he grabs it and throws it into his own net.
Did you see the big? Did you see against Newcastle, the starfish one?
Oh yeah.
I'm done. I think we bought. I hate to say this, yeah, because they say that I'm one of the most reaction persons on YouTube, yeah, but it's true. Carriers. I feel like we bought carriers. This is honestly.
We've got him if you
with
want.
Liverpool, we don't want that. With what Liverpool did, Liverpool went to the final and they said they had carriers in and they said, "Oh, we can't do this because we plan to go back here." The problem with Onana is he's got that mistake in him, and you're like, is he going to do this all the time? The one you can see the breakdown in trust. The low when the ball goes over top, he doesn't trust. The low doesn't trust him, and the low's like all over the place. Almost gives away a handball. Vash could have said, "Hey, that's handball there." And why? Because they're not trusting the goalkeeper. These guys gave everything against Copenhagen, and it went terrible. They gave everything versus Galatasaray, and even as people say, they didn't come over to pick him up, hug him. It happened. Same with Karius. When Karius made a mistake in the Champions League final, the Liverpool fans, they say he never walk alone. They left him alone there. Yeah, and I promise you, that was a telling sign. And Man United to leave him and to continue, and my managers backed him like he's back right now. I'm scared. I'm very worried. Luckily, AFCON's coming.
Mid-February, I'm glad you said AFCON, mid-February is Onana back in the first team for Man United.
Yeah, listen, he will be buying deer. He's got to play here, bro. I'm telling you right now, buying deer, and now I'm even thinking about Eton, bro. I shouldn't be thinking about these guys. Well, this is what I'm thinking about, and I want us to play this guy early. I want us to play the other goalkeeper. Just have a look.
Oh my God.
We just need to have a look.
It's like Fabian Barthez all over again back in the day.
Scary.
The thing about like this is the thing, right? Is I've seen a few Man United fans going, "Oh well, David De Gea made mistakes as well." I'm like, this is the next level. This mistake he made in the Champions League, it looked like match fixing. It was so bad.
It looked like
It's like we need to invest.
Tony took it, and Tony and Tonali took a few. They fancied it.
Right, you read some statistics earlier on about Man United, and one you didn't read out, mentioning the Champions League. 14 goals conceded in the group stage. And do you know what? I'd say about 80% of them were down to on mistakes. Like the mad thing is, the mad thing is, right, maybe they did, but I doubt that whoever recruited him at Man United were watching him that much in Serie A anyway. It was mostly off of his Champions League performances with Inter Milan. He made team of the tournament, didn't he? Now you look at him in this season's Champions League and
No, he was good at Ajax as well. He was good at Ajax.
But if he was, let's theorise that he was really good, but he made the odd clanger. You could logically go, all right, you're going to get the odd one, but he's world class on that. He's not even that good. Like, it's not like he's playing really well then having these mistakes. Like, he has the odd good game here and there. I'm not saying it hasn't happened, but he's.
You know what? And trust me, I was so excited, and even like Africans in general, we like the feeling, the warmth of. Oh my goodness, and especially for Man United, we haven't historically had a lot of African players. So we're really excited about this moment. An African player in goal, let's go. You know what I mean? But then now, I got Nigerians and stuff that call in my show on a regular, and they can't believe it. They say, no, this is beyond us. Like, it's hard, it's painful, but then now the manager's sticking with him. When he goes to AFCON, I pray that the new guy takes the spot, and then he just take him out the firing line, and he has to win the shirt back. That's what he has to do, win his shirt back, because at the moment he doesn't deserve it.
Is there a possibility that David De Gea returns to Man United?
No, because it's getting backwards.
Yeah.
It's getting backwards.
If he was
Wait, is there
still there,
available? Wait, is there a possibility at Man United? Absolutely.
Did you see the emoji he tweeted out?
Everything. What did you do?
The frozen emoji.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
He keeps using emojis recently. That's his new language.
It's basically like he's clearly making a reference to what's going on in Man United every time. It's cold. I do think. I mean, it must be weird to be him because he was. I don't know if club legend is the word, but like we've got to give him his respect. He, for the longest time, when Man United went through all those shit managers, he was the one who kept these in the top 10, right? And yeah, it tailed off towards the end, and there was some mistakes, but nothing like the Onana level of mistakes. He must think, didn't get a testimonial, not even a go fuck yourself on the way out the door.
Go fuck yourself.
And now you pick this guy above me. Poetic justice is there, right?
Being that I do YouTube, not a lot of my takes age well. But I said, didn't I, before a ball was kicked, I said, I'm telling you now, David De Gea saves way more points in the season than Onana
We've
does.
seen it. We know it. Even Man United fans know it. But the funny thing is, we don't want to go backwards. What we want to do is want to play a different brand of football. But the main
What is the brand of football you're trying to play that's different?
we haven't seen it.
That's my point.
We ain't seen it yet.
Didn't even do that well.
We're still on the journey of trying to find it. I'm not gonna lie to you.
So then how comes Ange comes in and then straight away you see it at Spurs? What they're
I
trying to do?
don't know.
That's what Ten Hag's getting. I'm looking at him thinking, why
But
haven't we
then
seen
again,
football yet?
if Ange lost 4 games in a row at Man United, it's a crisis.
Yeah,
He wants to be sacked.
I want to know, do you
He wants to be
trust...
sacked. 4 goals in a row.
If he's won you like the first 10 pretty much.
Listen, Man United is a different kettle of fish, bro. I'm sorry to
Because we're about to lose 4 in a row and we're still above Man United.
and it won't matter. That's what I'm saying. It's like,
That's also the second game in a row scoring. Not the
You
second
will
start.
finish.
Hey, I tell you what.
You wrote me off, mate.
We get some money back.
Man City
Get
again.
some money for him.
Again,
No, we can't keep doing this every time. Tottenham score a goal.
City
Man,
again.
wait to 90 minutes.
No, you have to say it. Man City again have surrendered another.
He just popped a shot from fucking the car park.
Yeah, but the reason we can't wait till 90 minutes is because the scoreline doesn't tell the whole story. What we're seeing here
This
is
is
the
a
play.
great strike.
Even-
Look.
It's not though.
It is a great
Let's talk
strike.
about the space though. Let's talk about the acres of space that Man City are giving up here. This is not Manchester City stand.
He's covering it.
This is acres of space. So take that down. Take some time. Take it closer. Then curl it in the bottom corner. Man City normally it's a little drift in.
So that's not a good finish, right?
It's a great finish.
That's not a great finish.
No. Of course it's a great finish, but the point I'm making is when we're talking about Man City, they're giving you more time and opportunities to beat them than they've ever done.
And when they went on top, you were saying, and we were all agreeing, that they could end up winning this by 4, 5, 6 goals or something like that. And why do we say that? Not because we haven't got a clue about football, because the old Man City of even last season probably would be.
Well, it's also because of Spurs' current team out there as well. We thought that would happen.
What do you mean?
Because you're saying we thought it'd go.
Ama şunu
You're talking about this game specifically.
Yeah, no, in this, okay, but in this game, what I'm saying is when Man City took the lead and they were peppering you on, right, okay, this could be a few now, right? And what I'm saying is, on last season, I think the Man City of last season, it is a few by that point. But what I'm saying is, the difference in Man City is last season, I think they won this game.
Cross it in. Corner ball. Was it?
No! What is that?
Straight to Kulisevski. He's killed. Corner.
Not even fully crossed the line.
This team.
Goal. Let me get
Man technology.
Man City are still celebrating the
the
treble.
Hawkeye.
Lads, it's just a shame Big Action just parked the bus, isn't it?
Yeah. We know exactly what we're talking about. The tactical
Yeah.
ability of us. We've got to say
I
he's shit.
fucking like Big Arch. Me, I think he's a
Yeah, he's a legend.
What we're seeing now is an identity. We're seeing actually being built here.
Yeah, but you know what I hate?
Down to the bare bones, he's competing.
This is gonna sound
Shit.
Say it.
Do you know what? Now we've got that trend going. With sort of ex-Tottenham managers, I can't wait to see Ange in the dugout at Stamford Bridge. I'm really looking.
I've taken a bit.
Stop it. I just think this is gonna sound crazy actually. off his heel.
That looked like it was sworn in, didn't
I
it?
just hate that knowing you play well and then you don't get any points, and it's just kind of like, why did we did all that for no reason? Then
You could win this game. You're winning it.
Well, you still think you're losing.
You can win this game.
I think you're in the ascendancy.
You can definitely win it. You can definitely win it.
If any team are going to score within the next 5 minutes, you're looking
If
at
we had Romero and
Spurs.
Van de Ven in the back, I'd be agreeing with you.
Mate, imagine if you bang the
all
corner in now.
Are you forgetting the quality Man City have? Like, all it takes is Royale.
Wait,
a laptop
Oh my God!
which he will have.
He nearly
Which he will have. He will have that lapse of concentration, Royale with Davis, and you've got someone like Haaland there.
Them guys have done well.
Haaland ain't been great.
I hate this team.
Haaland's missed two sitters as well, but
Yeah,
they should actually be
he
both
ain't been great in
players.
this game.
KG, can I ask you, do you have faith in this number 2 to like actually be okay?
I've never seen him play, but right now, listen, I've never seen him play.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Would you
I've never seen him.
would you
Let's
not
go.
like? Are you not interested in potentially signing someone in January? Like,
No, that's why I want to have a look. That's why I want to have a look.
You want to have a look now?
I have a look now. That's what I'm saying. Ten Hag. If you know he's definitely going for AFCON, let's have a look now. Already, Anana's like, we're not going to qualify in the Champions League. That's done. So let's have a look at this kid. If he's good, it's great for us to know. If not, January, let's go in. It's like Arteta did it with his goalkeeper. He looked at Ramsdale and he just had it. And we didn't see it. A lot of Arsenal fans probably didn't see. That's like, wait, why is he getting rid of Ramsdale?
Yeah.
But he had a look. He saw some stuff and he said, I got to bring in Raya. Putting Raya on loan, he did it. Like, this could be our Claudio Bravo. That's the one where Pep says, you know what, we brought in this player. Actually, maybe not. And you know what? Maybe we won. That's fine. But we have to do something big. We have to be proactive. And I'm asking Man United to do things that they don't usually do. Proactive in the market. Let's go. It's United. So we'll see what happens. And we just keep making. The problem with Man United is expensive mistakes. And we just got loads of them. As you said.
But if you get a new manager in, he can revive some of these dead players, like many good managers do. And all of a sudden, you take Jadon Sancho, for example, someone wants to buy him now because he's actually performing.
I've got no doubt that a new manager, I'm not saying it will happen, but a new manager coming into Man United can get way more of a tune out of Mason Mount, can get way more of a tune probably out of Marcus Rashford.
Everyone's forgetting the first season. Our manager came in and he had a good season, and probably people say it was a full season that he finished, but the killer is those players will always revert. Those players will still do that.
Will they though? Will Mount always revert? Will Højlund always revert?
Will culture at Man United, something is clearly wrong.